Too many things are all happening at the same time, John. There's just too many things, and I haven't slept. I haven't slept at all. I've been awake forever. I'm just riding on caffeine and fumes. And you and I's this podcast, the Rage Select podcast, is the first of I think 5 things I have to record today. So
what you'd like to say is to not have me talk like this in a very low, calm voice.
Don't
that
do
could
that.
be tempting.
Don't
to
do
calm you into
that. Don't do that. I have to punch myself. I have to punch myself. Punch myself to stay awake. Don't do it. I'm gonna have to hit the glass and get the emergency meth out, and I don't want to do that. That's just gonna keep you up for another 4 days. So welcome everybody to a very non-methamphetamine laden Rage Select podcast. I wouldn't even know where to get meth if I wanted to. And I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Do you know where to get meth, John?
Nope.
Okay, so nobody on the Rage Select podcast knows where to get any meth. So that's good. It means that, we have to sleep and stuff.
Not even once.
Not even once. That's true. So part of being busy over the last week meant that I didn't do anything. I watched Killing Eve and read 2 of my books that I've read before. I didn't do anything. However, last week, I know or is it still going on? How long is Wrestlemania, John? Is it just go on forever now? Does it just start on Sunday?
It is still going on as we speak, yes. Fuck, there's a lot of Wrestlemania.
It used to just be like a weekend, a 2-day thing, right?
No, so WrestleMania, for the longest time, was like a 4-hour show on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
4 hours of wrestling. Hot damn, it's the biggest, ticket item, biggest event of the year. Then, because, they now have they turned it into an entire weekend. They have their NXT developmental brand that has its show on a Friday.
All right.
They have their Hall of Fame ceremony that happens on Sunday. And they have, their 4 or 5 hour wrestling show that's on Sunday. And then, obviously you have the Raw after WrestleMania and then the SmackDown after WrestleMania, because those are also considered big because they all take place in the same city.
Okay.
So all the people who go to WrestleMania also go to those shows.
Good Lord.
So it's that same crowd just being raucous and whatever.
Would you say it's too much wrestling?
So yes, but not because of that. Because previous years I've been okay with at least being one thing a day.
Right.
I can watch 4 hours of wrestling and then move on. Do you want to know how much WrestleMania the event, or how long WrestleMania the event was on Sunday? Do you want to know how long? It was 8 goddamn hours.
That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. You got to clock in at the beginning. Do they give you a lunch break? Do you get
no?
Do you get a 15-minute break every 2 hours?
There was a 5-minute dance break at some point.
Oh, okay. Does it have commercials?
No.
Oh, so it's literally just a solid 8 hours?
It's a solid 8 hours from beginning. Anyone who complains about fucking Avengers Endgame being 3 hours, go fuck yourself. I sat through 8 hours of wrestling.
Well, when are you supposed to go to Taco Bell?
Before?
But then you're going to be hungry again before it's over if it's 8 hours long.
We made nachos at home.
Okay.
We made our food at home. That's why you order pizza. But no, it's God damn, 8 fucking hours long. Even that crowd, you could tell they were exhausted.
Oh, yeah, because there's people sitting in seats for 8 hours.
Yeah, there were some people did not actually get to leave the arena. Now, mind you, this is New York time frame, so they're about an hour ahead of us.
Right.
They did not actually leave the arena until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Jesus, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Because
that's a lot of wrestling.
The event actually ended at about 1:30, and then you have to think about it that there was 90 some odd thousand people in that arena or in that stadium. And so then you have to wait for those people to all exit and get in their cars and drive off.
This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare world.
Yeah. I've only been to one WrestleMania and I didn't drive.
Yeah.
I literally, I drove to Houston, parked my car at my brother's place, had my brother drop me off at the hotel that I was staying at because I wasn't staying with my brother. And then the hotel had a shuttle to the stadium. So I literally did not park or drive anywhere when I went. I was like, fuck that. I am not dealing with traffic.
Well, what were the highlights? What were the big things that happened?
There were actually quite a few big things. There's
a lot of excited people on Twitter.
Yeah. Kofi Kingston, a member of the New Day and also all around great dude.
Yeah.
Won the WWE Heavyweight Championship, which was great.
Okay.
Technically, for this specific version of the championship, he is the first African-American wrestler.
Okay.
to hold that title.
Okay.
So that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Also, he's one of those guys that was pretty much no one ever thought the people never expected him to get it because they always considered him like a mid-tier wrestler, even though fans were like totally behind him.
Okay.
Really good story because the villain he went against was Daniel Bryan, who was the guy who was a villain now.
Is he the yes
yeah,
guy?
But he's a villain now.
He's like your favorite guy?
Oh no, he still is my favorite guy.
He's a heel now?
Oh, he's totally heel.
Oh, wow.
But that was what was so great about it, is that you had this guy who the fans wanted to be in the championship match,
right?
Who was not being put in the championship match, suddenly going up against Daniel Bryan, the last big guy that wasn't being put in the championship match.
All right.
That fans wanted in that match, and now he's a heel that hates people. He was the planet's champion. Because he actually changed the belt. It was like made of hemp and driftwood and like stones.
Wait, he's like he's a heel. He's like a dirty hippie now that everybody hates him because he's like a vegan. And he's into hemp and stuff.
Yeah,
like.
Vegan, organic materials for his clothing. He refused to like shill the company's shirts because they weren't organic materials. Like it was a whole thing. It was great. It was fucking awesome. I fucking love it.
Wrestling, I love you.
Yes.
I never watch you, but I love listening to John talk about you. Like I just listen to John talk about wrestling for hours because I don't want to watch it, but I'm more than happy to have you tell me like the best 5 things.
And then like the main event of WrestleMania was a triple threat match for both women's titles.
Okay.
Because there's one for SmackDown and one for Raw.
Okay.
And it was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Great fucking match. First time a women's match has ever been the main event of WrestleMania.
Nice.
So this was like the headline show. And I'm sure you're familiar with Ronda Rousey.
I am.
Charlotte Flair is the daughter of Ric Flair.
I actually know who that is too. Yeah.
And she was kind of shoehorned into the match, kind of pointless to be there, but whatever.
Yeah.
But then Becky Lynch, whose moniker, wrestling nickname is The Man. Trust me, it works.
Okay.
She's kind of a badass. Like literally, like she got punched in the face so hard that like her nose busted open, was bleeding, and then like got knocked out for a second, and then got up and like then fucked a bunch of people's shit up.
All right.
Wrestling, she's like a modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin in a lot of ways.
Okay.
At least that's what people compare her to.
Mm-hmm.
She won. Becky Lynch won, which is the one we all wanted to win. She now has 2 titles, one for each show.
And then wasn't it was like Triple H and Batista? That was a
Triple
big
H
thing?
and Batista had a match. Batista lost that match.
Okay.
And the big thing there was that Triple H had actually never beaten Batista, and Batista felt like he had some unfinished business with Triple H, so he'd kind of like every now and then, like when he'd show up on like anniversary shows or special event shows, he would kind of make little, it's like, well, you never beat me or never beat me before in a match, kind of thing to Triple H, and Triple H would just kind of ignore it. And then finally Batista came out and was like, no, you're gonna fucking give me a match with me and you, WrestleMania, and I'm gonna end your career. When I beat you, I want your career over. I never want to see your face on TV ever again.
Right.
And Triple H was like, all right, you got it. And then Triple H won. And then afterwards Batista went, I retire, by the way.
Oh, that I guess, okay, so the only question I have left is like, have they dragged The Undertaker back into the ring yet?
He appeared on Monday Night Raw the following night.
Oh, okay.
But this is also the first WrestleMania in 15 years.
No Undertaker?
With no Undertaker.
Oh, okay.
So, but he appeared on the following night on Raw.
Okay.
Because there's a guy who named Elias, whose entire gimmick is he plays a guitar, and like he goes and he has like little quote unquote concerts and plays guitar, and but the thing is he never actually gets to play because someone always interrupts him.
Okay.
And so like finally he's like I'm gonna have this this show on Monday Night Raw, and he's like, no one's gonna interrupt me. I don't care who you are. If someone comes out and interrupts me, he's gonna be a dead man. And so then he's interrupted by the dead man himself, The Undertaker.
Okay.
Elias is great, though. Elias is great.
So it was worth it. Yeah. Couple of ups. I mean, I guess the thing is that over 8 hours, like, right, something's probably going to be be good.
Oh yeah,
but,
no, definitely. Like there was definitely some good stuff.
It's kind of the JRPG of wrestling shows.
It's just on Friday the NXT Takeover, which is again their developmental show. It's fucking phenomenal. There was only like four or five matches on the entire card.
Yeah,
it was like done in like 2 or 3 hours. Mm-hmm. It was like short to the point. The matches happened, and all the matches were fucking bangers.
Great,
great matches to watch. I didn't really watch the Hall of Fame ceremony because I just didn't care. I was like, I'm going to be watching 8 hours of wrestling tomorrow. I need a day of not wrestling.
I'm going to watch cartoons for a little bit.
We watched a lot of. I played a lot of Borderlands and watched a lot of Murder She Wrote that day. And then, like I said, on WrestleMania, we watched a shit ton of stuff. Man, it's a lot of wrestling.
Okay.
Well,
that's good.
And then the following night on Raw was kind of a disappointment, and yeah.
Well, it's funny because after you and I get done recording this, I think Matt and I are going to be recording Earth Defense Force Iron Rain.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize is a Ukes joint.
Yeah, it's a Ukes joint.
So
yeah.
I got my own wrestling game, except this one has got giant ants and Godzillas in it. So
yeah, I've heard about this, and I'm actually kind of interested. Apparently, it takes place 10 years after 5 or something like that.
Well, I think the big thing about it is that it's got like a story. It's like a narrative driven instead of just like Mission 4, kill all the bugs. EDF. So
yeah, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands.
I played a bunch of the pre-sequel, and I kind of like it more now than I used to.
Yeah, I will say playing through, because I want to play through all of them.
Yeah.
To get ready for Borderlands 3. And the more I play of the original Borderlands, the more I wonder if I ever actually played it. Because I remember up to a certain point, because Lord knows I played that up to a certain point so many times.
Right.
And I know I beat the original Borderlands. I know I beat it because I know how it ended. Like, I know exactly what goes into it. And I remember beating it with friends. I don't remember half the shit I'm doing in this game. I'm like, I don't remember any of this shit. Like, there are characters that I honestly thought were original characters from Borderlands 2. Totally in this game. Didn't know.
Oh, I never played that far because there's Borderlands 1 ends up getting like really grindy.
It is. It's very grindy.
It's just kind of that old like MMO. Go here, get your quest, kill 10 of these guys.
If I had had a complaint with Borderlands 1, it's very much the story is very minimal.
Yeah,
it's literally just there's a vault. Go find the vault, and it's doesn't really give you a story with that. It's just you're literally going out killing things and basically getting missions to kill things, to find items, to get...
I mean, you put it in comparison, and like, the first quest giver that you get in Borderlands 2 is Sir Hammerlock, who's great, and the first like quest giver that you get in Borderlands 1 is Dr. Zed, who's kind of like, okay. And then it's like, here's TK Baja, and it's like, why? Why is there a TK? Okay, never mind.
Well, TK Baja does die, so.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Spoilers.
That's tragic, but I'll tell you what's more tragic than that is the fact that we're recording this podcast 2 days before, like, the biggest Star Wars info dump of all time.
Yeah.
And we can't put it in the thumbnail. It's not going to be till next week. I'm sorry, you guys. We're recording on Thursday. One of my immediate family members is getting married on Saturday, so like if there's not a stream on Sunday, and that's why I still don't know what's going to happen. But in any case, what we do know is that by the time you hear this podcast, you'll know more about Jedi Fallen Order. We got a little bit of teaser art on Twitter and a little bit of concept art that kind of came via, I think it was like Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I know about it is that it takes place after episode 3.
Okay.
And you're playing as a Padawan who escaped the Order 76 or Order 66 or whatever the fuck that order is from the end of episode 3.
I call it Order 69.
Yeah, well, that's a completely different order.
That's a different order. You don't want the Emperor to tell you to execute Order 69.
Yeah.
Captain Cody's like, oh no.
Yeah, so so there's you're a Padawan who's trying to hide.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the story, is that you're trying to escape and hide from the Empire after Order, whatever.
Yeah, there's this piece of art basically just shows, I don't know, it's just a Jedi in a robe with a droid, and there's like a crash Star Destroyer. Yeah. That's kind of all there is to it. I'm going to be interested because it seems like I mean, if I'm not mistaken, John, this thing is getting developed at like a breakneck pace, right? Like, I mean, it was just announced last E3.
Well,
I mean, I don't know how long Respawn was working on it before that.
Yeah, they've said that they've been working on this in secret for a while.
Oh, okay.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, they went from Titanfall 2 to this.
Directly to this. Okay. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Who can say at this point, but I mean, never underestimate the power of EA to, like, fuck something way up. However, Respawn's been doing a good job recently, so, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. But, while we don't have any news about Star Wars, I can tell you an awful lot about EA fucking shit up because we had a pair of things last week. Jason Schreier wrote a big story over on Kotaku about Anthem and its development, and how, it's interesting because there were so many people that were when people who don't like Anthem, and I like Anthem fine, but I'm not trying to make anybody like it, whatever. Talk about this is the game that we got after 6 years of development, and this showed us, oh, absolutely not. This game was developed in like 18 months. Like,
probably not even that.
Probably not even that. And the one of the most interesting things that comes out of here is this whole thing about quote unquote Bioware magic, that like the whole thing's going to be a dumpster fire, and then at the very last minute, everybody's going to crunch it together, and we're going to put out gold. And I'm like, that's the most horrible design philosophy I've ever heard in my life.
And it allowed them to make Mass Effects 1, 2, 3, and all of the previous Dragon Age games, and all and fucking KOTOR, and all these other games that are like highly
but
praised and things like that.
One of the most interesting things that came out of this, I didn't have a chance to read the entire article, but I did start reading some of it. I just don't have time for anything this week.
I've read the whole thing.
Is the idea of what Anthem was originally. Like, what's really interesting is I think the same thing happened when I was reading. I think it was also Schreier did the Andromeda one.
Yeah.
Talking about, like, the concepts that they have for these games before they start fucking with them are amazing. Like, I like the concept in Anthem of it's just like survival, right? There's no loot or jetpacks. It's just kind of like a Minecrafty kind of going out to fight monsters for resources in the world and bringing them back to kind of build up this base that you've got with your friends.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a lot more like kind of lo-fi and gritty, and I like that concept. I mean, the same is true of the original concept for Mass Effect Andromeda was No Man's Sky. It was a procedurally generated Mass Effect universe.
Yeah.
And then we got this article about the new Dragon Age, and how Dragon Age 4's original concept was that it was you're in the sorcerer country. I forget what the name of the world is, but like you're in the nation of sorcerers as a small group that's trying to like figure stuff out, and apparently the whole game was going to revolve around heists in the Dragon Age universe, where you had to like kind of figure out how to like break your way into like magical vaults and like steal stuff, and there's a meta story, and I'm like, all those concepts sound amazing, and then they're just like, nah, that's all right, just make something.
Well, it's not even that they're like, nah, that's all right, let's make something. It's that they then go, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, what tools do we have? Frostbite. Fuck it! Frostbite won't allow us to, because no one fucking knows how to use Frostbite at EA. Even the people who know how to use Frostbite don't even understand Frostbite.
Well, I mean,
because it's designed to be a first-person shooter and nothing else.
Yes.
And EA has decided that every game under their umbrella has to be shoehorned into Frostbite and to do things it was never designed to do.
Yeah, that seems to be the common theme throughout all of this, is like, one, Frostbite is not the engine that you need to be using to make these. Well, it's weird because it's almost like they're at cross purposes with each other. Like, EA wants to make money. Like, let's all be clear about that. EA does not give a fuck about artistic intent. They want to make money.
Yeah, they want money.
And they've decided that the way that they want to make money for a lot of these Bioware games is they need to have a big, sprawling open world, which is not what Frostbite does well. So it's like, well, in order to do this, we need to make an open world game. So here's a tool that doesn't work to make open world games. And just like,
well, here's a tool that's not designed to work in third person. Here's a tool that's not... that doesn't involve space travel. Here's a tool that's not really designed to do magic.
Yeah,
and all these like not designed to have like an inventory, and not designed like a lot of these things they have to build from scratch in Frostbite.
Yep.
Where most other development engines have,
or at least tools to streamline the creation of things people making video games are going to need. It's weird because I think EA is the last one. You remember, like, I mean, it used to be that like Square was really they were super obsessed with like building their own engines for each individual game, you know. And you used to see big development companies that would make an engine for a game that was specifically. Now I feel like 90% of it is either Unity or Unreal, some modified Unity or modified Unreal. And the fact that they keep,
I mean, there are still some companies that do make their own engine. I can't think of off the top of my head, but there are definitely some companies that have used their own engine.
Certainly.
But it's usually the people making whatever game are the same people who made the engine, so they know how the ins and outs of it.
Right.
And Frostbite is so cobbled together by so many different people, so many different studios, so many different places that are literally, they're not, because they have to do it quick, they're not even like making it like, well, let's make the code that does this. It's more of, let's put this code in here that completely contradicts this other code that we're not going to use.
Yeah.
And then later on it's like, oh, hey, we do need to use that code. Well, these two codes now contradict and neither functions anymore.
Yeah. It's a real shame.
I legitimately have friends that are like developers in games, like that refuse to work for EA or BioWare. Like when they've needed jobs, they put their resumes into every company except for EA and BioWare because they don't want to work in Frostbite, because they've literally looked at Frostbite and went, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. Like, I know one friend who actually turned down a higher paying job at EA because he didn't want to do anything with Frostbite.
It's such a stupid thing. Like, it, to me, I guess it smacks so much of where EA's priorities are, right? Is that they just don't give a shit about these games because they are not willing. These are not the sort of games that make all the money. Like, the games sell well, but apparently at this point, like, that's not good enough, right? It's not good enough to have a game that like sells well and makes you a decent profit. Like, you have to have apparently either Madden or Destiny. Like, that's the only two things that even Destiny, as I understand it, doesn't make a lot of money for for them. But like, it's weird because EA actually as a company seems like the sort of company that doesn't have any that should just be a sports game company. They should just be making sports games in Battlefield. Like, that seems to be all they really want to do. Like, and whenever they try to do something that's not that, they just seem to be bad at it. I mean, sometimes, they publish games like Unravel, or what's that with the lady in the boat with the fishes and all that shit. Like, they've published some stuff before, and that's fine. But like, God, they really don't seem like they're interested. So I'm going to be really interested to see what the because Respawn seems to be like the last group that has some amount of autonomy to just kind of do a thing and maybe be able to convince Patrick Soderlund to let them do something. I mean, like, the story with Apex was that they had to go fight EA to let them make Apex, and then...
Well, apparently they were working on it without EA knowing for a long time.
Right, and then when they put it out, it was just like, hey, look, amazing. And like, is anybody playing that Battlefield 5 Firestorm mode? I mean, I don't know. In any case, I guess, these two articles are really interesting, and I think that it's interesting to look at them. It's weird for me because I've never really been the biggest fan of Dragon Age in the world. Yeah. So like, there was a kind of a part of the Dragon Age article where they were talking about like, when we went to do Inquisition, we were just all like really nervous because Dragon Age 2 wasn't received very well. And so everybody was nervous and didn't really want to work on Dragon Age anymore. And it was like, well, it wasn't because the story was bad. It was because the whole game was in one city. Like, you obviously wanted to make more assets.
Funny thing is, I actually really like Dragon Age 2. Because I feel like had it had more time to actually be built out, it could have been a great game. Yeah. Like, I just feel like there were aspects of it, like, again, it takes place all in one city. Also, their approach to dungeons was literally rooms, and it's all dungeons are the same rooms, just in a different order. Yeah. Or turned around and done to save costs, and I feel like that was not good. Yeah. It had, like, you could see, but it's like, if more time was put into it, sure, it could have been a good game. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that I didn't like Dragon Age 2 because of that constraint, but again, as you just said, like, that's why I find this to be such a strange statement, whereas like, if you had just made Dragon Age 3, Dragon Age 2, but like
actually had more areas, which is what I feel they kind of did, except then they filled all of the areas up with fetch quests. So it's just fetch quest after fetch quest.
3, so I never played Inquisition.
Well, 3 starts out, and there's like the prologue puts you in this area.
Yeah.
And there's so much
and they
to
had
do.
to put out the tweet saying, guys, leave
the
that
area. Don't spend 12 hours in the opening area.
Because apparently it's not possible to complete all the missions in it because it randomly generates more or something.
I think you can finish all of them. I think it's just you're not supposed to. You're supposed to you're not supposed to be a completionist. You're supposed to go out there, do a few things, and then go forward in the story because you'll be able to come back here later. I think. I don't know. In any case, because when you leave there, that's when you get your Castle Normandy, essentially, like your base where you start bringing your followers back and putting the whole team together.
Obviously, they've never met a person like me who wants to explore everything and do everything.
That's why they put that tweet out. It's because people were spending 14 hours in the opening area without leaving, trying to do all of these, line up all the stars on these telescopes and find me a million of these little berries that are on the ground. And so also the idea that they canceled that Dragon Age 4 to basically cannibalize that team to come do Anthem, basically to do the finishing out of Anthem. And in fact, there's even a weird credit at the end of that was for Andromeda, because they brought that team over to help finish Andromeda, and so there's a weird credit list at the end of Andromeda that's Dragon Age finishing team, and it's the people that were working on Dragon Age 4 that when they axed that game to bring them in to finish it. And then apparently the new Dragon Age is going to be a live service. It's going to be online. There's going to be a bunch of things. They're hey, don't worry. No, now listen, John, don't worry, because we're the Dragon Age team and we know you want single player content. So the main story will probably just be fully able to be played single player, but then there might be some other content where you probably got to get together with your friends. And can I just say, as one cranky motherfucking Jeff, fuck you. I'm tired. I don't want to play with friends. I want to sit here by myself and play by myself. My friends aren't awake at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm drinking beer and playing video games. Nobody's online to play, and I don't want to play with them anyway because you load them into your game and they just run off and finish the quest in 2 seconds and then you're done, and it's great. That was great. And everybody's you got 4. It's when you play Overwatch, you're playing one of the seasonal events and the cutscene comes up and then the other 3 people on your team have already put up their we want to skip this cutscene, and you're just I want to watch this cutscene. I like the cutscene, and that's why I don't want to play online with people. So anyway, both those are actually really interesting articles.
I mean, it's a really good article. It's also interesting because I think the outside of Frostbite, I think the other issue is that for Anthem is that literally in the early stages, Casey Hudson left the company, and no one took the leadership of the game. So it was literally a group of people spitballing ideas.
Yep.
And not able to make a decision. And for the longest time, it was no one was able to actually come in and go, this is the game we're making. These ideas are great, but this is the game we're making. Let's cut these out. Because everyone's like, oh, all these ideas are great. We should do all of these things. And then, and we'll figure it out later. And then by the time someone actually came in who actually could say, hey, this is what we're going to cut out, the game was demoed at E3 a month later.
Yeah. I mean, in the Dragon Age 4, I think the Dragon Age 4 article, I think they even had a thing where somebody said, in the development of Dragon Age 4, we're we will take the second best idea now and lock that in, as opposed to spending 8 months trying to decide what the best way to do a thing is and then having to do this. Because the other part that I didn't even mention was the fact that there was people that had to go on psych leaves because they fucking worked those people.
Yeah, they were basically saying
hard.
that people would get doctor's notes to say they had to take an entire month off from work because of whatever.
Psychological damage.
Yeah.
I mean, PTSD.
And some of those people didn't come back.
Yeah.
Some of those people just said, you know what, I'm not coming back. Have a nice day.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I guess all I'm saying at the end of this is temper your expectations for Dragon Age, y'all, until we see a thing.
I say temper expectations for anything from BioWare, including updates for Anthem.
What about Respawn? What do you think? Temper your. I mean, you can't temper people's Star Wars expectations. Everybody's got the rockest, hardest lightsaber boner for everything Star Wars all the time.
Is Respawn using Frostbite, or they're using their own thing?
I don't know. Apex isn't in Frostbite, is it?
No, I don't think it is.
Titanfall's definitely not in.
I think, if I'm not
Frostbite.
mistaken, they're using their own in-house.
That would be useful. That'd be helpful.
Which I think is why EA is allowing them to use it, because they own it.
Yeah.
So they're just like, okay, as long as it doesn't cost us any money.
Right.
Because that's the whole reason they want Frostbite, is because
they don't want to
license out Unreal. They don't want to license out Unity. They don't want to license anything. They want to use their own internal. I mean, The Sims isn't on Frostbite because The Sims is its own engine.
Right.
It's if you have your own engine, then they don't care.
Yeah.
So I think.
Wes.
Sorry. I think, in all honesty, in regards to that
Jedi Fallen Order,
I think there's a good chance for it being a good game, especially with the fact that Titanfall 2 story mode was actually really good.
I liked it a lot,
and I think
I like the multiplayer mode. And we just got done yelling about it. I got done yelling about how I don't like other people are playing multiplayer.
Yeah. And I honestly feel like you're going to get a much it's going to be closer to that story mode. Like, I feel like whatever this game is probably going to be closer to that.
Yeah.
Than, it's probably not going to be this sprawling, open world, multi-universal, KOTOR style experience that everyone wishes that they could have again, which will probably never happen again. And it's probably going to be a more linear, really well made and entertaining story.
That's all I want. That's all I want. I mean, like, the thing is that the Battlefront 2, if it had been not a piece of garbage, like, I like the way that Star Wars looks in there. I like the discrete levels. Like, it would have been fine if it wasn't just like Han Solo with a mustache and like
full on beard, didn't he?
Or full beard. I don't remember what it was. And like, all this bullshit about, I'm with the Empire. I'm definitely not going to ever become a rebel. Oops, I'm a rebel now. Oops, all rebels. Anyway, I can bitch about EA, Star Wars, or whatever. I hope that by the time this podcast comes out, that we're all super excited. But if there's also anything that polarizes people at Star Wars. So anyway, we'll talk about it next week. What we'll talk about this week, though, is some Sekiro news. So apparently we got some sales figures that Sekiro sold 2 million copies in the first 10 days.
Congratulations.
Yeah, which is very good. I mean, Activision, another not.
And how many of those copies did you buy, Jeff? No.
I mean, only like 175,000. All right, like I said to myself, just one more, and then I finally managed to stop myself.
Now people find out the real reason you need to have a fundraiser at the end of the month.
There's one closet that you just shouldn't open. There's just one closet here that you shouldn't open. So that's the Sekiro good news. The Sekiro weirdly bad news is last week. I kind of want to weigh in on this whole do you see this thing with the PC gamer guy who I cheated to beat the last boss of Sekiro and I'm fine with it? It's
the meme that's responded from it. The guy who made responded his response to that got turned into a meme that I fucking love because even developers have taken it. Capcom used it for Mega Man X.
Well, here, hold on. Let's just go over this real fast for anybody who doesn't know. So there's a guy that works over at PC Gaming. He was on the last boss of Sekiro, who, by the way, I have not managed to beat yet because he's a real fucking pain in the ass. Who, playing it on the PC, he used a trainer to essentially squeeze the amount of memory that the game was getting, which basically makes the game run in slow motion. And at first he said he was just going to do it to learn the boss's patterns because it's a 4 fucking phase boss fight.
Yeah.
And every hit is so hard that by the time you get to the 4th phase, if you fuck up, you're just dead. So I can understand that. Let me get used to this boss. And he's like, then I'm going to turn it. And he was like, but as I was doing it in slow motion, I decided, no, this feels too good. Fuck it. I'm just going to beat this game. And so he did. And he wrote an article about it. And wow, the comment section is a dumpster fire. This whole thing. We don't really talk about it very much on this. The whole thing about game journalists aren't real gamers. Game journalists are a bunch of beta cucks who can't actually play video games and blah 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 blah. Anyway, it ties into this. So, all that being said, one of the responses was this guy on Twitter, and he wrote this tweet, and it just says, "You cheated not only the game." No, wait, hold on. I got to get a voice for this. You cheated not only the game, but yourself. You didn't grow. You didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So on behalf of me, let me just say, sorry.
Yeah. Now, what's funny is the guy who actually made that post,
Yeah.
like, has come back. He's like, actually, I don't really care. I was being hyperbolic, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm actually kind of happy that it got turned into a meme, but I don't care.
So then, yeah, it got turned into a meme where people were just like posting, I mean, like speedrun footage and glitches and like cheat codes, and they always put that quote ahead of it. There was the one from Devolver. I really like this one that's got Snake pointing to his headband of Metal Gear Solid 2 and saying infinite ammo, and then it's a codec with him and Raiden, and it says, Snake, you cheated not only the game but yourself. You didn't grow, you didn't improve, like the whole thing over codec. Devolver put one out that was from the what was the name of that game with the weird red guy, Piku Niku? Where it's that, and then it's just like one of the characters from Piku Niku with the what's that, Julia Roberts, like math by his head, and then it just says I think I get it. But
yeah, no, like I thought it was hilarious. Like they did a thing where like Sega put out a video and it's actually footage of Sonic racing a like level, like using a cheat to beat a level.
Oh yeah,
that like speedrunners use, and then when it crossed the finish line, like the end screen that tallies up your points, instead of actually tallying, it says that in all the pieces.
Just writes it all out.
Capcom did a thing where for Mega Man X, like he just shoots one bullet and the Sigma in Mega Man X just blows up, like just after one hit. And then it shows like the credit sequence, and instead of what it actually says, it says,
"Oh, it's just that quote: you didn't grow, you didn't improve." Yeah,
yeah. Like the developers have seen, or at least social media for developers has seemed to embraced.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too far into this. I do think the last boss of that game is horseshit, and I think it's part of what I don't like about the way that From Software has kept making their games harder and harder and harder. And I will say that anybody out there who has decided that, like, well, you know, I beat this game, blah, 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 blah. Okay, listen. We can go into whether Sekiro needs an easy mode. I personally think it wouldn't be bad if it had an easy mode, but whatever. The thing is that all the previous Souls games, they had an easy mode. It was called summoning other people to help you or building your character so that they had a shitload of vitality. Like if I had a problem on the last boss of Dark Souls 3, I could always go grind for souls and then just pump it into vitality or strength until I was more powerful. But like there's a limit in Sekiro to how powerful you can be. There's not really builds, so to speak, of ways that you can get around that. Like there was flexibility in previous From Software games, not to mention the fact that you could summon people to help you with the final boss. Even in Bloodborne, you know, the final boss of Bloodborne, you fight Gehrman and then you fight the Moon Presence, right? Yeah. But like Gehrman, when you beat him, you don't have to beat him every time you want to fight the Moon Presence. Like I think that if you had to do that, that game would have been tedious, and that's kind of what Sekiro is there's a fucking 4-phase boss fight, and every phase is harder than the last. And so if you get to the last phase and you manage to just fuck up just a little bit and you die, well, you got to go through the entire load screen. You got to go back. You got to start at the very beginning. So personally, I don't have a problem with it. And I think that's, I don't know.
So here's where my point on it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if Sekiro has an easy mode or doesn't have an easy mode. That's the developer's decision. If they don't want to put that in there, they don't have to. But I do like that the discussion is being had of do games need an easy mode? Would they be impacted? Like it's the discussion of does the game become less if it has an easy mode? Like if there is a difficulty slider or something is changed to make the game easier, but it's the same game. Like, does that enjoy? Like, I like the fact that discussion is being had. And for most people, it's like, no, easy mode doesn't hurt anything because you still have your hard mode. And the people who want to be like, I beat the game the way it was meant to be played. You're right. You beat it on the hardest difficulty. Good for you.
I mean, the thing about this argument. Okay, this is what I've come down to on it. If Miyazaki doesn't want there to be an easy mode, hey, you know what? Like, I don't think he should be forced to put an easy mode in the game.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you don't want to do an easy mode, don't do an easy mode. However, I don't think that Sekiro would be worse with an easy mode, and I think the only reason that this is an argument is because it is a From Software game.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares that Earth Defense Force has an easy, normal, hardest mode. Nobody cares that Metal Gear has 5 different difficulties. Nobody gives a shit about Wolfenstein's difficulty levels. They only care about Dark Souls because of this horse shit, get good noob, blah, 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 blah. And what I hate about it is I know there are people who are going to play Sekiro all the way up to maybe this point or close to this point, and then they're going to get so frustrated they just put the game down, watch the ending on YouTube, and then, go fuck yourself with your tweets.
Well, I mean, if you also want to look at Darksiders 3.
Yeah.
There were legitimate complaints that game was too hard.
Yep.
And what did that studio do? They released an easy mode. They patched in an easy mode for the game.
Yep.
Or lesser difficulty. Like, it's still challenging, the mode that they put out, but it's actually easier to do.
Yep.
And people like, okay, your game feels complete now. Like, that was they were applauded for what they did because people started playing the game more.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I like, again, my point is I like the discussion.
Yeah.
And I like where the discussion is going, which it seems to be the discussion outside of people who are the get good noob, hard only,
you cheated
whatever.
Yourself, you didn't learn anything.
The people who actually believe that 100%.
Yeah.
Like the whatever. Outside of those people, the discussion is, easy mode doesn't hurt anything. But having said that, I also think that games aren't required to give you an easy mode if the developer doesn't want to give you an easy mode. Like, if you look at older games like Mega Man, like even the Sonic games to a degree, and other things, these games weren't necessarily easy, and there was no easy mode to those. There was one mode, you either beat it or you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
the other thing is that I was having this discussion with somebody in the Discord chat. I want to be very clear here. When I say easy mode, I don't mean like Bayonetta one button. I mean like make the hits from the enemies a little less hard. Make the block window a little bigger.
Yeah.
Make your attacks do a little bit more damage. Make the health thing heal a little bit more. Like I'm not talking about retasking the game so that anybody can just go like, whoa, and just go through it.
Yeah.
I just want it to be a little bit more because right now the default difficulty of Sekiro is more in line with hard for most video games, the hard mode of most video games. And so if there was an easy mode, and that was like, if it was Devil May Cry 3, basically, right? If there was an easy mode that was more in line with what normal is on most video games, I don't think so. And then just to finish this up, again, before you write your comment, Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Demon Souls had an easy mode. It was called letting other people help you. And there were people in that game, you could go through that entire game without really doing the boss fights because you just summon people in. Those people want souls. They're so good at these boss fights. Half of them don't even have any clothes on. They're just naked with a great sword, and they just flip fucking over the boss 8 times and he's dead, and you're just like, all right, thanks, bye, and you go on with your life, right? This game doesn't have that. This game doesn't have that online mode for people to lean on. It also doesn't have build variety. Anyway, it's too much. Speaking of things that make people mad, Fallout 76.
No, Fallout 76.
Apparently, Fallout 76 has added in a new type of microtransaction to the Atom Store in the form of a repair kit. So this is not exactly making you more powerful, but apparently this will allow you to just spend this item to instantly repair your equipment out in the field instead of having to go back to your camp and repair it at a workbench. Now, whether or not this is quote-unquote pay to win, which Bethesda said they would not be doing, is a subject of much debate. If I was Bethesda, I would try not to anger the few people who are still playing my game by doing dumb shit like this, especially when they said the Atom Store was going to be cosmetic only. But hey, I'm not Bethesda. What do I know? I think Sekiro should have an easy mode. So, like, what do I know about anything? So, yep, apparently that's the latest thing with Fallout 76.
Yeah.
John, does this make you want to go back and play Fallout 76?
I never played it in the first place.
Does this make you want to play Fallout 76? Now that you can use real-world money to buy it? No? Okay.
No, I don't want to give any money to that game. I don't even want a copy that's given to me. Like, if someone were like, take my copy of Fallout 76, I'd be like, no.
Well, then don't
throw that shit in the garbage.
Don't open the other closet, because I made a bad investment before I
noticed.
I learned about the Sekiro investment. Let's talk some Nintendo. So last week we had a commercial that showed that there's probably going to be a stage builder in Super Smash Brothers.
Probably wasn't supposed to show that much.
Yeah, Ultimate. There was a TV commercial, and strangely, in the bottom right-hand corner, as this kid was picking up his controller, there you could see a thing that said Stage Builder. So apparently the Wii and the Wii U versions both already had a Stage Builder in them.
Yes.
They're going to be adding that in. Cool.
Probably sometime at the end of the month when they add in, what's his name from Joker?
Joker from Persona 5.
Whenever the fuck that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come back to that game in a while. I had fun with it, but like, I got other stuff that needs playing. Let's see. Additionally, apparently the Labo VR Labo is going to be able to play more than just VR Labo games because there's going to be a custom level for Super Mario Odyssey, and it's unclear, but it kind of seems like you might be able to play all of Breath of the Wild in a weird VR mode.
It's not clear what it is or how it plays, but the general theory I've seen people have is that the controllers are attached to the side of the
Switch.
The Switch, which the Switch is in the Labo VR.
Yeah.
And you're holding the controllers, you're holding it up to your face, and you're using the controllers like you would normally when playing.
That seems incredibly awkward. So Nintendo, maybe you could please also ship some rubber bands or something that I can just kind of strap around the edges, or maybe just let that stand from the Virtual Boy so that I could just put it on a book in front of my table.
Maybe what we don't know is that one of the cardboard builds in the box is that stand.
Oh shit! You could take if you take the blaster and the elephant, you mix them together, and they become
Transformers.
They transform.
They turn into Devastator.
Into Devastator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I already ordered this Toy-Con kit for even though it's $80.
I haven't ordered it, but I plan on going to hopefully Best Buy this weekend to buy a copy of it.
Yeah, it looks pretty
cool. And I'm going
to
get the $80 version as well.
Well, is there a cheaper version?
There is, but it only comes with the
just a little headset?
The headset and the gun.
Oh, okay.
And everything else they said will also be sold separately later.
All right. So yeah, it's nice to see Labo still doing well.
Yeah.
The fourth Labo kit.
Yeah. And I like the fact that this is not the first time they've actually put Labo functionality in other games.
Mm-hmm.
The first Labo set, for those who may not remember, the motorcycle thing did actually have compatibility with Mario Kart.
It was a steering wheel. Or no,
it was the motorcycle.
It was the motorcycle.
Yeah, it was the handlebars.
Okay, yeah.
Has Mario Kart. Compatibility,
so 8 Deluxe or whatever.
Yeah. So, I just now hope that they release a Pokemon Snap game that also has Labo VR compatibility.
Oh man!
I need everyone who saw the fucking camera in that original commercial went, "Where's my Pokemon Snap 2?
Yeah,
where is it?
Where is it? Come on, motherfuckers!" Yeah, so I don't know. We might try to do a video for these, but it's probably not going to be out for a week or two because I got to
And what I also think is great is they even said that you can actually play every game that's in this, every game that you can make, because one of the new features of the Toy-Con Garage is that you can actually make your own game. Because in the original one, the Toy-Con Garage was just how you interact with the Toy-Cons.
Right.
In this one, you can actually make an actual game to go with it.
Nice.
And everything is also playable 2D without being in VR.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
VR is not required. So, like, if you can't do it because of, like, eyesight thing, like, then it's perfectly fine. You can still enjoy the games that are played with.
I tell you what, good job, Nintendo. Like this, I mean, it just looks like this is such a great little thing that just looks. I mean, all of the Labo stuff has been fantastic.
Yeah,
has been fantastic.
I know a lot of parents hated it because a lot of kids they played it for like a couple of weeks and then they're just cardboard things just sitting around collecting dust.
Yeah, throw it away. I mean, I guess it's $80 worth of cardboard, so you maybe don't want to just throw it away,
but just taking up space.
That's what kids do, man.
Yeah.
Kids play with things for a week and then they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on from Nintendo to Sony. Apparently, this week we finally got the Sony you can change your PSN ID.
Yeah, with
update.
some caveats.
Yep, some definite caveats. Apparently, there are a few games that have critical issues and a few games that have regular issues. I looked it up, and the critical issues games, I don't think this is a big thing. Disc Jam, Everybody's Golf, Just Dance 2017, Little Big Planet 3, MLB 14, The Show, MLB The Show 16, MLB The Show, Onrush, Golf Club 2, and Worms Battlegrounds.
Yeah. So I understand why Sony is having this problem because they fucked up.
Yeah.
apparently, when they designed the PlayStation Network IDs and stuff like that. Because generally, and this is just from little information I know, most companies that do like logins, what you log in with is not actually what the account signifier.
Like you have you have a number, and then whatever your ID is just like the name that is associated with whatever that login
so like
is.
if when you create an account, like with most companies, like they'll have, let's say they have 100 customers who have created accounts.
Right.
Those customers generally are numbered 001 through 100 through 100.
Right.
And then they have a login which is associated with that account.
Right.
That they can change. And no matter what you change, that number of the account never changes.
Right.
What Sony apparently did was say, no, whatever email address whatever name you sign up with, that's your account.
Ooh.
And that's why with certain games, if you change that account name, anything you bought digitally with that account name for certain things goes away.
Yeah, apparently there's trophies that'll go away. Some save data will be incompatible. And there's a list of games that have some issues. This one is much more dire. I mean, it's got like, Bloodborne and the Dark Souls and Call of Duty, Ghosts and Injustice 2. Like, if you're thinking about doing this, I would definitely go take a look at this and decide, I mean, like, is it worth it? You could be losing some data. And this is just the list of things that they know about. Like, who knows? Like,
because they stupidly put the actual username that you create as the signifier for your account. So your account isn't number 000 whatever, and then whatever username you put in, which is how I'm pretty sure how Microsoft Xbox Live works, how like Nintendo's, Steam's, everything. So that if you change something, it doesn't fuck the account over.
Right. But now if I change my username from XX420danknessXX to something else, to Jeff, then I won't be able to get into Bloodborne anymore.
Yeah.
Or something maybe along those lines. In any case, if you want to do that, just be careful is what I'm going to say. All right, let's move on to Microsoft. So apparently there's a rumor that they're going to be lumping together Game Pass and the
Did
Gold.
I not just talk about this a few weeks ago?
Absolutely did. John called it, y'all. Apparently this is going to be what is the thing? It's got some name. In any case, the rumor right now is that it's going to be $15 for both as a monthly
fucking
thing.
Worth it.
Yeah. Which that wouldn't save you anything if you bought them for a year. Like if you bought them for a year, it wouldn't save you. You'd save more money if you bought both of them for a year. But at $15 a month, it'll be cheaper than having each one of the monthly charges for each one of them. So it's a good idea, and like it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, just do it. Like, do it. If you have an Xbox,
I think I paid for both of them individually for a year.
Yeah. Me too.
I think. And so I'm just going to let that expire, and then I'll switch over.
I mean, it was $50 a year for Gold, and then was Game Pass.
It was like a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit cheaper.
I think I still have Game Pass on a monthly instead of that. But so, yeah. And then Microsoft is gearing up for E3. Next week, Inside Xbox is going to be starting, quote unquote, the road to E3 on April 16th, which is also my birthday.
Oh, shit.
So they're going to have some gameplay footage of Rage 2. There's a big Sea of Thieves anniversary update. There's going to be some Warhammer Chaos Bane and other stuff. And this is apparently going to be a thing that's going to be going on, leading all the way from here for 2 months, I guess, all the way up to when E3 happens. Which, like if Sony's gone and Nintendo, I mean, we know what Nintendo does. Like, Microsoft, just fucking walk around with your pants off. Do whatever you want to. Like, you own this E3. It's yours. Do it. You can do it. Anyway, April 16th, 2 p.m. You can check out, that's Pacific time. You can check out the next one. Speaking of E3, another company that is E3 is Ubisoft. And apparently there was a report last week where Yves Guillemot has decided that they don't really know what they want to do with Splinter Cell. Because there's a lot of pressure on them to make not a shitty Splinter Cell game. "Aww." And this is this whole article of him going like, gamers want a lot of stuff. Or I can't do it. I got to do it with a French accent. Gamers want a lot of stuff. That's bad. I shouldn't do that. And I mean, like his quote here, when you create a game, you have to make sure you will come with something that will be different enough from what you did before. The last time we did a Splinter Cell, we had lots of pressure from all the fans saying, don't change it, don't do this, don't do that. So some of the teams were more anxious to work on the brand. Well, just don't do what you did last time. And I think that we'll all be happy because Blackout kind of sucked. But I mean, the one before that where it was like, was that Chaos Theory? No. Was Sam Fisher like he was
Conviction?
Was it Conviction? Or was that one in the prison?
No, that was Double Agent.
It's Double Agent. I think it was Conviction.
Yeah, Conviction was the one where he was like separated from the organization, and it was like where he had gone rogue and he was just like bearded and
he had like the kind of like mark and execute system.
Yeah.
I really liked that one. I really liked that game quite a bit.
I think people hated it because it was such a departure from what Splinter Cell was, but it actually ended up being like a decent game.
Yeah.
And then people were like,
and they went back to what they were doing before. And it was
once people actually saw what it was and played it, they went, oh, this is actually really good. And the story's good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do more of this. And they're like, well, you wanted the original, so we're going to go back. We're going to ignore Conviction and we're going to make Sam Fisher younger and give him a different voice. And
yeah, that was so weird. I don't know. I personally think that they should go back and either make like a prequel or something that's in the original timeline, like between, I don't know, Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory. Like, yeah, surely Sam Fisher did something else during that time, so we can kind of go back to the drawing board without having to deal with all this other stuff that's happened. But
okay, I've got it.
Yeah.
Persistent world of spies.
Okay.
Of Sam Fishers.
Everybody plays as Sam Fisher.
Everybody plays as Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
And they're clones. They're all clones.
It's like Grand Theft Auto, but everybody's Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Wildlands, except everybody's Sam Fisher.
Jesus. Oh, good Lord. Just nut up, Yves. Nut up and make a Splinter Cell game, for fuck's sake. Take a chance. You want to do whatever the hell else you want to. Just, make a Splinter Cell game. Make a Splinter Cell game. Also, apparently,
they'll make it, but it's going to have rabbits.
Yeah, you know what? I'd almost be willing to do that at this point. Rayman cross Splinter Cell raving agents or something like that. Apparently, there's also a rumor that the next Assassin's Creed is going to have Vikings. It's going to be about Vikings.
I'm actually kind of interested. That's all it took. Like, I wasn't interested in Egypt.
Yep.
I wasn't really interested in whatever the fuck, the Greek mythology, Rome or whatever.
Greece,
wasn't really care about that. You mentioned Vikings. I'm like, let's fucking do this. I don't even care.
I mean, if they look like the Vikings in For Honor, hell yeah. A bunch of weird. It does, though, kind of like the Assassins have always been, I don't know, just like sneaky and sophisticated and stuff. And with Vikings, they're just like, headbutt. So, but you know what? They did Black Flag, and Black Flag was pirates, and they do a lot of arg headbutting. So, yeah, sounds good to me. Also, you get the boats back.
Yeah.
So
they really love their boats.
They do love the boats. Let's talk about a few trailers here. Let's see. We got Days Gone One Bullet trailer that was it's dark. It's a dark
one bullet. Who gets it?
Dark trailer. Yeah. Who gets this one bullet? And it's weird because, I mean, the entire implication of the trailer is that you should save the last bullet for yourself rather than be murdered in the zombie apocalypse. And yet the whole trailer seems to be about where do you put that one bullet? Which, a zombie, a dog, another person?
The 1,200 zombies behind you?
Yeah, just get them all to line up. Get them all to line up, and then one bullet will just do the trick.
Yeah.
I'm still very interested in Days Gone. I'm really interested to see. I'm
not like dying to play it, but if it's good, sure, I'll play it.
You kind of come around to it. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those I'll probably play at some point.
Well, a game that I'm definitely going to play is Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, I already got that pre-ordered.
And we got the TV spot that showed, I mean, not much. This was just kind of a
live action. The big thing is that they really focused on Katana.
Right.
And everyone went, oh shit, they've confirmed Katana, who we've actually known is in the game from the trailers. But they never actually like verbally confirmed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Mortal Kombat's been doing a good job. I watched the Combat cast from last week with the Collector and some of the other ones. The only problem is that, like, I find the hosts of the Combat Cast to be, and I don't like using this word, John, but cringy as fuck. Like,
yeah.
I mean, maybe they're just a bunch of developers, but like, could you not get somebody who knows how to like present stuff? I don't know. In any case, Mortal Kombat 11 still looks awesome. We got a new Rage 2 trailer. I gotta say, Rage 2, man, the trailers are getting better. This is the Everything Versus Me trailer that came out. I'm really excited for Rage 2, John.
Yeah. No, I'm actually looking forward to this as well.
It reminds me, I mean, it just has like such a, I get so many Bulletstormy vibes off of it.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh man, look at all this. But then the trailers they've been doing have been pretty funny recently, and I like this one.
Smug ass Cliff.
He shoots that buffalo off the edge of the cliff at the end of the thing. But whatever.
Spoilers.
Whatever else you could say about Rage 2. Rage 2 is a game that makes for a hell of an action montage.
Yeah.
Like they got really good action montages in the Rage 2 trailers. So I cannot wait to play that. It's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to. Another game that was this is a weird one.
I had never heard of this game until you showed me the trailer for it, and I actually kind of love the trailer for it.
It's called No Straight Roads. It reminds me a lot of Fooly Cooley.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of Fooly Cooley. It's also got like a
it's like Scott Pilgrim, Brutal Legend. I don't know.
It's kind of got like a Brutal Legend aesthetic in that its music makes the world.
Right. So the trailer is apparently about this young woman and they live in Vinyl Town, and like this giant corporation came in and is stomping
replaced all the music with EDM.
And so now they're going to have a rock and roll show, and they're going to take back the town from the evil person. And yeah, I mean, it looks really crazy. It's got an interesting art style. It's got a very kind of frenetic, colorful vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's not entirely clear from this trailer what the actual gameplay, moment-to-moment gameplay is, whether it's going to just be like a third-person kind of action-adventure game, but I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot. Like, it looks different, at least.
Yeah.
So, plus, I really do get a big... there's a little kind of musical stinger right at the very end that just so reminds me of the Pillow soundtrack to Fooly Cooley that it was just like, yikes, I want that.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
And then, like, last but not least, let's talk Yakuza Kiwami 2 has a PC trailer. There's not much to say about this particular trailer.
Looks like Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Looks like Yakuza Kiwami 2.
People finally going to get to play it on PC.
Yep, it's going to be on the PC. And not only is it going to be on the PC, but it's going to be out on the PC on May 9th.
Oh, shit.
So not that long to wait for those Yakuza fans who want to play on the PC. Yeah, Yakuza is great. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is great. I don't listen to the people. There was one area that they took out of Yakuza Kiwami 2, and they melded all the quests from it into Sotenbori instead of this third area that was in the original. I don't think you're losing all that much, but I never played the original, so I don't know. In any case, the Sega sells these things super cheap anyway, so it's not like you're going to be paying a lot of money.
All I know is I'm really looking forward to Judgment.
Hell yes. Hells to the yeah. Let's see. Project Octopath Traveler is coming to the PC in June. So if you were interested in the JRPG kind of throwback that was on the Switch, it is going to be coming to the PC June 7th on Steam and the Square Enix store.
Nice.
So, yep, for all those of you who like JRPGs, a lot of great Japanese games coming to the PC.
Yeah.
So there you go. And last but not least, we got 3 stories here. And they're all a little weird. You know what? We're already over time.
Go for it.
I'm going to cut. Okay. So there was a U.S. politician was banned from EVE Online after a scandal.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird. And it was like they decided he was insider trading in the corporation that he ran inside of EVE Online. And so they shut down his account, banned him from holding an executive position in the game, and then like confiscated all the ISK that he had. EVE Online is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking weird. So go read that if you want to weird read. I mean, like, I think you should always set up a Google News alert for like when something really interesting happens at EVE Online.
Yeah. EVE Online is a game I never want to play. Yeah. I don't know how it plays. I don't know what the gameplay is. I've never seen footage from EVE Online.
It's like a spreadsheet.
I never want to see footage from EVE Online. I just want to read these weird stories of people going undercover for like 5 years within an organization just so they can take it down from the inside and and ransack it. And
there was one a few weeks back where it was like some guy who'd run out of gas like near the edge of the actual game universe. He was just exploring, and like he didn't have enough gas to get back, and he was so far out. But apparently there's a group of people in EVE Online that does nothing but like deep space rescue missions, who like loaded up a bunch of ships and like went out to basically get this guy some more fuel on the edge of the universe just so he could get back into playing. EVE Online is bananas.
I love reading about EVE Online. I love reading about it, but I never want to know more than just what I'm reading. Like, I never want to play it.
Yep.
I never want to see footage from it.
Yep.
I just want to read these really fucking weird stories that are always entertaining.
Yep. Double, triple, yep. Okay. Number 2 in the fun stories at the end of the first part of the podcast is new footage has surfaced of the infamous Moment 37 from Evo.
The Daigo tech hits.
Yep. So apparently,
Daigo,
yeah. This had all kind of come from a one video source before, and now apparently somebody was actually recording the entire match, like all the way up to that moment.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Moment 37 is, you should. I mean, you should just go look up that.
It is the moment. It's really one of like the most badass things in fighting game history.
You gotta kind of like, somebody's gotta explain to you what a tech hit is, but once they do, if you've ever played a fighting game, like it's it's beautiful. And it's even more beautiful because since there was no nobody who recorded this was coldly like doing screen capture. It's always a video, and so you always get to hear that
the
moment
crowd,
when like first they think that Chun-Li has got him, and it's like, oh, and then they start to realize what's happened. It's like, oh, and then he does the reversal. It's just, ah!
Yeah, it's literally, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's great. If you don't know what Moment 37 is, go look it up, even if you don't care about fighting games, because it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Hideo Kojima is going to be in a thing. Apparently, the guy that made Drive has a new Netflix series called what the hell is it called? Like, Only the Old Don't Die Young.
Too old to die young. This is being co-written by a comic book writer, or it's being like co-created by a comic book writer that I'm a huge fan of, Ed Brubaker.
Oh, I like Ed Brubaker.
Yeah. Warren Ellis is the one who actually turned me on to the trailer for this, because he shared it on his Facebook. It was like, Ed Brubaker co-wrote this. Go fucking watch it when it comes out. And I was like, thank you, Warren Ellis.
So it's a really strange trailer. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of just kind of like weird stylized hyperviolence and stuff going on. But at one point, Hideo Kojima looks like he's going to chop a guy's pinky off with a samurai
katana.
sword.
Yeah, that's literally like a half-second clip.
Yep.
But it's Hideo Kojima.
And so people were like, are you excited that Hideo Kojima is in this new Amazon series? And I was like, no, I'm not excited for Hideo Kojima to be in any movie. I want him to make video games, not to be in movies. Get back to making Death Stranding, Kojima! I mean, obviously, it doesn't seem like he's in there for a long time. And that is part 1. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do questions. So everybody stick around, and we'll see you in a minute. Yep, it's time for questions. It's question time, and that means it's time for questions. Mail at rageselect.com is the email address that you can send your questions into.
Yeah.
Yep. And the first person this week who sent in a question is Mikey Mike. He says, hey there. Mikey Mike here with some questions. I loved watching your Sekiro videos. Thank you. I've been binging a lot of your old videos, and while I study and write papers and stuff, can you guys talk about what you like to do when you're feeling burned out? Thanks so much, and that's from Mikey Mike. John, what do you like to do when you're feeling burned out?
Well, I mean, it depends. When I'm feeling burned out, I'll either, if I'm in a music burned out mood, I'll usually put on Daft Punk's Discovery on loop and just like zone.
Yeah.
Other times I'll put on Murder, She Wrote or some other old TV show that, that I haven't, that I just can binge watch like forever.
Yeah.
Stuff that I can have on as background noise if I want to do something else, but also I can pay attention to and enjoy paying attention to.
Yeah.
So I don't like to watch like new stuff when I'm burned out.
Right.
So it's like
You go to your old favorites.
yeah, The Murder She Wrote, The Pretender,
NCIS.
fucking NCIS, fucking Law and Order,
Right.
Whatever. So there's that. If it's video games, like I'm feeling burnt out, I'll usually just put on something that I can also turn my mind off with, which is why I actually feel like I've been enjoying the original Borderlands as much as I have lately, is because I can literally just kind of turn my mind off and just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's funny because last week when I was, I'm still facing down the barrel of the last boss of Sekiro, like I was talking about, and I found myself playing a bunch of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, on my TV in 4K because it's just like, blah, blah,
Let's
blah,
do this.
right?
Yeah.
Like, go to the waypoint, kill all the raiders, get some new guns, shoot all the raiders, and get some guns, and then shoot raiders. Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's and then read comics. Like I'll sometimes just sit in a room and just read comic books.
I usually just try to disengage from. I don't tend to get burned out on. If I'm burned out on everything, I just go to sleep. But like, if I'm burned out on one specific thing, then like usually I'm with you. There's usually just a couple of different things that I do. One is switch over to a different media, right? Like
if I'm burned out on video games, I'll typically focus on comics or a movie or a TV show.
Right. Like I just the other week I went back and I was having a hard time finding anything to read, and so I know I've mentioned 100 times on here, but I went back to that Honor Harrington series that I really like, and I just got my Kindle out, went to the first book, went to page 1, started reading. I am now at the beginning of, I think it's book 7 or 8 out of 13. But like, it's been nice because I only read those books one time. Personally, I don't know. Some people I feel like they don't ever want to do, they're always in search of the new. And I understand that because I always get a kick out of something new, something different, something interesting.
Yeah.
But but I'm also equally more than happy to go back and like experience something a second time that I really liked the first time around.
Yeah.
Like this week, the Hitman 2, they dropped the Mumbai Master Challenge where you have to get this one specific outfit and then do a bunch of things with it. And I haven't done that yet, but it's definitely on my list of just like, I'm just going to go to this level that I've already played a whole bunch of times and then just dress up like a shaman and hit people in the face with a stick for a while. But yeah, generally speaking, if it's a particular thing, I try to shift over to something else. And if it's not a particular thing, or if I don't want to do that, then I'll just pull up something that's fun. I mean, like I like playing games. I like playing the same game over and over again if it's a good game.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, I bring up at this point it's mostly the Soulsborne games because I played them so often, and they're the sorts of games where once you know what to expect from them, it's like you can kind of just tear your way through them. So, yeah. And I mean, I end up rewatching, American Dad and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia a lot. Like just putting on a random episode and then just kind of letting it run in the background while I'm doing other stuff. But yeah, so that's mostly what I do. I don't know, but I'm also I was I talking with somebody about this? He's in the Discord chat or something. I mean, I like video games.
Yeah.
Like, I like video games. And so, this week we've got the New Earth Defense Force. We got Phoenix Wright. Like, I played through the first Phoenix Wright game, but I never played through the second two. So, like, hey, there's that. I still got Sekiro to finish. I got the Mumbai Master Challenge. This new weird game called Zenki Zero came out this week from Spike Chunsoft and the Danganronpa folks. That's really weird.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre and interesting that I kind of dipped my toe into last night. So I don't know. I mean, I get burned out from time to time. I'll tell you what the major burnout for me is if a game is too long. And that's been a real shame because recently a lot of games have been very long. So, I really wanted to finish Octopath Traveler, but I finally got to the point where I'm like, this is just work. Like, I'm not interested in this. So when I burn out on those things, generally I just put them down. Like, I really love to play Persona 5 all the way through, but the motherfucking game's like 60 hours long, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, yeah, that would be my answer. Let's see. We have another burnout question. I guess this one's kind of similar. Let's see if we've got any other further thoughts on it. So this person didn't write in their name. I'm going to call him C. C writes in and says, hey, Jeff and John, I've recently gone through a video game fatigue or slump. Feels like every time I boot up my PS4, all I end up doing is watching Netflix or YouTube. Has this ever happened to you? And how or what games snapped you out of it? Love, thanks. Love you guys since day one. Keep the awesome content. And that's from C. So this one's a little bit more specific about
video games.
Yeah, every time you turn on your console and you look at what's there, you're just kind of like, and then you just end up watching Netflix instead.
Yeah. I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
But usually it just takes a game that just interests me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even when I'm not playing video games, I still follow the news on them and stuff like that. Not just because of this website, like even before Rage Select, like there'd be times where I'd go through like times where I wouldn't play a video game or wouldn't read a comic or wouldn't watch TV or whatever. I just, like, for whatever reason, I was just burned out on that one media type, and I would just kind of ignore it for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
And usually all it takes is like one thing that makes me go, I want to play that.
Yeah.
And I can't really say what it is because it's always different. Like sometimes it's like right now I'm kind of in a weird place where I kind of felt like I was getting to that point of where I didn't really want to play any video games, but then Devil May Cry came out, or Devil May Cry 5 came out. And then they really, re-released Borderlands 1 and did the stuff for the HD
texture packs.
Well, and then put the Handsome Jack collection on sale.
Right.
Also, Phoenix Wright is now out, and I really kind of want to play those games again. Like sometimes it's an older game is re-released, and I'm like, I kind of really want to play that again because I remember really loving it, and I want to play it in on a new console.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a new game that I didn't even know I wanted. It looks really badass and cool. It's coming out, and I really want to play it.
Like we were just talking about, was it Pathfinder on Steam?
Yeah,
which I think we're going to be doing for a Patreon video.
Pathways?
Is that
Pathways, Pathfinder, something like that. I don't remember.
Here, I installed it earlier so I could, let's say, Pathway. Yeah,
Pathways.
It's called.
Like sometimes it's just like something as simple as that, and it's like, oh man, I really want to play that game, and suddenly I'll play it.
I feel like one of the biggest things that I get into is if I load up I always have a bunch of games on my PlayStation, and sometimes when I load up my PlayStation, I look at like what's on my cross media bar, and I realize that everything that's on there is a really long game, and so that's a lot of times when I'll go back to something like Overwatch or like Wizard of Legend or a game that's short enough that I know that I can either beat it or at least get a sense of accomplishment in playing it for a smaller amount of time. Because, like I said, I feel like in a lot of ways, what C here is describing is happens most often with me when I load up my console and I'm like, all right, well, I'm 3 missions into The Witcher. I'm 4 missions into Red Dead. I'm halfway through Persona, and I just look at all these things, and I'm like, any one of these that I load up is going to be... I'm not loading this up to play it for 15 minutes. I'm going to be loading this up to play it for like an hour or 4 hours or for the rest of my life in some cases. So in a lot of cases, I feel like when that's the thing, the best thing to do is go grab a small game, something like Inside or... when they're re-releasing the Stanley Parable pretty soon, something you can just kind of get in and get out instead of having to sit there and like really invest. Like sometimes it's better just to be able to jump into a game and fuck around for an hour and feel like you've got a sense of accomplishment instead of having to be like, all right, what was the last thing that happened in Dragon Quest 11? Like, where was I again? Hell, even. Even Resident Evil, the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think I forgot how long Resident Evil 2 is. Like, it goes on and on.
I feel bad because I actually stopped playing it and haven't gone back.
Yeah.
I didn't beat the remake at all because, like, I literally got to a point where I was dealing with anxiety outside of the game, like in life.
Yeah.
Like I was having really bad anxiety panic attacks.
Yeah.
And then I started playing the game, and then I got to the point where Mr. X is like You can hear, and just it was causing all sorts of anxiety, panic attacks while playing. And I was like, nope, walking away. Haven't played it since, and I kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
Like I want to go back and play it, but then like I get that feeling of anxiety again just thinking about it, and I'm like, fuck. I wish I hadn't played the game at that point, and while I was having those anxiety feelings, because now I'm having PTSD flashbacks.
You should go back and play it on easy. Like I played Claire's mission. I played through Leon, and then I played Claire's side on easy, and I was just like, yay, hooray, fun zombie fights, blah, 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 blah. Like, they don't tend to get back up again when you shoot them and they're on the ground. Like, you got all this ammo and all this health, and you're just like, yay, I did it. All right, let's see. This next one is coming in from you guys gotta sign these emails. Mauricio says, sup Rage Select crew, Mauricio here, about to graduate university with my bachelor in computer science and pay off all my student loans. Oh shit. Now with the questions. Recently I beat Devil May Cry 5 and I had a blast with it, but it didn't give me the feeling that I had when I was playing 3 for the first time, and I like that game more. Question: what are some game sequels that you prefer the games before it, and why? And you can't use Dark Souls as an answer, Jeff. P.S. Most people say Metal Gear 3 and then 4 for a lot of reasons. Until next week, later. And that's from Mauricio. So, I feel like this is some fertile ground here, right? Games where the sequels were worse than the originals. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it happens.
I think it happens quite often. I mean, hell, up until very recently, I feel like it used to be that just generally speaking, sequels for anything was like not as good as the original. I mean, hell, for the longest time, especially like in the 80s and 90s, right? Sequel movies were always just garbage. They would never bring back the original director. It would always just be like, let's get some B-tier jackass and half the budget, and we know that everybody's going to go see Jaws 2, even if it's not anywhere near as good as Jaws 1. But I don't know. I feel like there have been tons of video games that fall into that category. I mean, was talking about Resident Evil, but like I think that Resident Evil had a kind of a steady downslide.
I feel like Resident Evil. I know there are people who like it, but 5 and 6 are kind of.
They're just so different than what you would kind of expect out of a Resident Evil game. Let's see. Not Assassin's Creed, not Mass Effect.
Dead Space 3.
Dead Space 3. Yeah,
kind of garbage.
I feel like
I feel like it gets a bad rap. Like it's not as bad as people made it out to be.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near as good as Dead Space 2 and 1.
I feel like most games that go on for an extended period of time hit that point, right?
Yeah.
Like that any game that's got more than 2 or 3 sequels. Like I mean, look, I don't think Uncharted 4 is a bad game, but Uncharted 2 is still my favorite of the Uncharted games. Like I think that Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4 are not as good as Uncharted 2. To me, Uncharted 2 was the best because it kept the pace going better than the first Uncharted game did. It had the love triangle, which was great. I kind of liked the weird Yetis and the bad guys more. It had so many kind of like really iconic moments, like you're running away from that truck that's coming down the street after you, and then one where you're.
My problem was with 3 and 4 was kind of the retconning a lot of. Or not really retconning, but it felt like retconning because they were actually exploring more of the origins of Drake before the events of Uncharted. And like I said, I don't really consider it retconning, but it also is kind of because, in the first game, it's like, oh, I'm a descendant of this guy and I have his ring and we're going to go do this whole thing. And then in 3, you're like, no, he's not related to him at all. He just starts saying that for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking weird.
Yeah. I don't know. 2 was definitely my favorite. And since they've kept going on, I don't know. In a lot of ways, I feel like Uncharted 3 and 4 ended up being like, well, I mean, obviously they're going to make another Uncharted game, right? I mean, this game's made a shitload of money and they're 4 really good, right?
Definitely, the final one because they were like, we're done. If we do another Uncharted game, it's not going to be starring Drake.
Yeah.
And then I never played whatever that next game was.
The one with Chloe and what's
Nadine.
her face? Nadine, yeah. I like that game. I like that game quite a bit, actually. It made me wish that there was a spin-off game from Devil May Cry where it was just Lady and Trish out there having girl power adventures, fighting demons. I mean, not every single game has to be like has to have fucking it has to be about Dante and his parents. I mean, Jesus. You know what? Doom and Quake, I feel like both have wandered as sequels have gone on. Like, I mean, I don't like Doom 3. I know a lot of people, I guess it's like what Doom 3 came out and it was chic to dislike it, and then there started to be this whole like, well, Doom 3 isn't that bad.
Was Doom 3 the one with the monster closets?
Yeah, with the flashlight that you couldn't hold the gun and the flashlight at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that one.
Quake also got a little weird. You know, Quake 2 was Quake 2 the one where it started to be like where the story was like you got put back together as a robot. Actually, I kind of like Quake 2 more than Quake 1.
Yeah.
I take that back.
Quake's just weird because it started to become too much like Doom.
Well, see, it's weird because I feel like Quake started off like Doom, and then the second one was like a sci-fi adventure. That one was a lot like Doom, except you were a cyborg. And then the third one was Arena, and then like, from there it's just multiplayer focused. So, I don't know. Any other franchises that come to mind where you can think of you like the first one, but then after that you were kind of like, I was going to think like Final Fantasy. Like there's some Final
Assassin's
Fantasies.
Creed games have gone that direction.
Well, yeah,
but again, that goes back to the anytime you have a long-running franchise that gets past like 2 or 3 games, you're going to run to that point where it kind of goes into a direction. Like I don't care for Odyssey or Origins.
Oh yeah, me neither. But see, Assassin's Creed to me is like a weird. It's like an EKG graph, right?
Yeah.
Like 1 is okay, but 2 is better, and then Brotherhood is better, but Revelations is not quite as good as Brotherhood, and then 3 doesn't really work, but then like Black Flag is good.
4 is good, but then 5 Unity
sucks,
garbage,
and then Syndicate's okay, and then Origin.
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
And like 3 isn't very good, but Liberation is okay. I think you start doing the spin-off ones, and it's just like, it's a big old graph full of wonky weirdness. Halo, nah. Dude. I mean, the thing about Metal Gear is somebody asked me in the Discord chat about like who do you like more, Miyazaki or Kojima, and it was like, well, I think they're wildly different. Like I think that Hideo Kojima has shown that he can make like drastically different types of games. Like, I mean, yeah, they're all kind of third person, but like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 4 don't play like anything like the same kind of
Zone
game.
of Enders and
Zone
PT Demo and
Zone of Enders 2. I mean, Peace Walker is like nothing like Metal Gear.
The PSP
4.
games that everyone is weirded out about. Acid.
Portable. Well, Acid wasn't Kojima.
Oh, well, Acid wasn't Kojima. Okay.
Acid and Acid 2 weren't Kojima. But like, he's just a very weird developer that just kind of does whatever he wants to. Whereas like, I feel like Miyazaki, I mean, like, this isn't a knock.
Kojima is willing to take risks, I feel like, to try something because it interests him, not because it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, so my whole thing is that I feel like Miyazaki has been kind of making the same game over and over again. Like, yes, there are, and the thing is that I like that game that he's been making over and over again. But you know, the difference.
It's almost like a cycle that happens.
That's right.
Over and over.
It's almost like we're trapped in an endless cycle. I mean, like, you know, Dark Souls and Demon Souls are different games, but they have very similar themes, very similar mechanics, very similar things. Like, you know, they're different games. It's not like he's just reskinning Dark Souls over and over again. But, you know, a lot of his story themes are about cycles, immortality, inability to die, curses. Like, these are a lot of the things that you see in a lot of...
You're collecting a resource such as souls or blood or...
spirit echoes?
Spirits?
I don't know what it is you're collecting in Sekiro, but yeah, I don't know. It's like... I think that Kojima does a lot weirder shit, and he's more successful at it. But Miyazaki's probably more of a better. It's like Miyazaki's like Ed Brubaker, and Kojima's like Grant Morrison. Where like not everything that Kojima does works, but it tends to be weird and interesting. Whereas Miyazaki is just like a very kind of workman, getting good stuff out there. Goodly, I don't know.
All right,
that's what I'm saying. All right, let's see. Let's do one more and then do some Discord questions. Let's see. Mikey Mike. Wait, is this the same person today? No. Okay. Mikey Mike says, hey there, y'all. It's Mikey Mike here. I just finished watching Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and I heard you say the game was $60. Jeez. So I was wondering if it would be easier if you just bought it on Steam and then played it for 2 parts and returned it to get your money back. Love supporting Rage Select on Patreon, but I don't think it's enough for your taxes and game purchases. Wouldn't it be easier to buy them and return it for the money back to help for tax season? Thanks as always, and that's from Mikey Mike. This is a little bit more insider baseball, but so here's the thing, Mikey Mike, is that I get to write off every game that I buy for the show off of my taxes at the end of the year. So if I bought it and then returned it, I mean, yes, I would still have the money that I had before, but then,
But also, a little bit more behind the scenes thing. If Jeff knows that, Jeff, again, we don't get paid at Rage Select. Jeff gets paid. We don't, like Amanda, myself, Matt, well, Matt probably for other things, but we don't really get paid here. And that's not a bad thing. That's me just saying we don't get paid.
Shut up, John God.
And we do this because we love doing it, and we love the site and everything. But what Jeff will do, if he knows that there's a game that Michael's excited about, or sometimes a game that I'm excited about, or a game that Amanda's excited about, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to buy that game so I can play it for Rage Select, we'll do videos, and I'm just going to give it to that person because I don't fucking need it, and this is more of a, hey, Michael, you like Dragon Ball. Here's this weird Dragon Ball Heroes game that you seem to like. Thanks for working for me, doing some work for me in your spare time.
Yeah.
And that's and it doesn't happen for every game, and it doesn't need to, but it's kind of something that's one other aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to try to have a library of stuff so that people can, people, if people want to play God of War, I've got a physical copy of God of War that I can just be like, hey, here, borrow this, bring it back when you're done, know. So yeah, and to be honest, I mean, it would be really, it probably would be financially more useful for me to keep the money than to write it off. At the end of the year. However, I'm also, I mean, I'm not like a financial money whiz or anything. I probably just end up spending that money on something stupid like Chinese food or beer. But yeah, anyway, it's a good suggestion. Thank you very much. And I have, there's actually been weeks where I have purchased games off of Steam and then realized, we don't need these, and just refunded them. Like, generally speaking, I don't buy more games than we play on the show for the most part. But John is also right where I like to kind of have stuff. In fact, it was a real bummer because Phoenix Wright didn't have a physical.
Yeah, it was digital
release.
only.
It was digital only, and then Earth Defense Force.
Digital
Iron Raid,
only,
digital only,
digital only.
$60 digital only. Like I was really hoping to get that and be like, here you go, Matt. Have fun with Earth Defense Force, because then But see, then the other issue, Mikey Mike, is that I do a lot of my gaming on the PlayStation, and PlayStation does not have a refund policy. So, I can't really do that. In fact, I do have games where I have purchased the game on the PlayStation, booted it up, went, oh, crap, this is garbage, and then not really had any way to get my money back.
And then went, well, guess we're playing Black Tiger anyway.
Yep, Life of Black Tiger it is. Man, they put out, Gilson put out another collection of his games a little while back. I got to keep up with Gilson. All right, let's move it on over to the Discord for a few questions. Let's see. Professor Thorgy asked, Dear Jeff and Rageograms, what up? Recently, I was fighting a boss in a game that I thought was absolutely positively done. I thought he was finished off for good, only for them to come back with the craziest second form I've seen for a boss in a long while. So it got me thinking, what is the best fake out you've seen in a game? What is the best example you can think of a game making you think 100% one thing, only to pull the rug out from under you? Thanks, love all the stuff you've been putting out. Have a good one. It's a good game fake outs. I think I actually know what he's talking about. I think it was in Sekiro, and it's a really, it's mean. It's just mean what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. Good fake out. The one that immediately came to mind when I was thinking about it was how in Resident Evil 4, when you're playing the game and you're just you're jamming along, you're getting good at killing zombies, and the first time you shoot a zombie and then that fucking centipede comes up out of their head, the parasite comes out and then starts whipping its head at you, and you're just like, what the shit, man? What? I can say that Evil Within 2 was really good about that. Was really good at like, there's that moment we saw it in a trailer. And then Amanda and I saw it. We played the game where it's like you walk into this room and there's like a mirror on the other side of the room with all these hanging dolls. Then when you turn around, they're not hanging like randomly. They're all in a row. And then you walk up to another and you look at this mirror. And then when you turn back around, there's a guy and he snaps a camera in your face. And then when you come out of that, you're like in this weird hallway, and then this crazy beast comes out and starts fucking with you. Like that game was good about. I'm always a big fan of games that use like the idea that you can only, remember how in Arkham Knight how they would do with the Joker?
Yeah,
how they would use the fact that you have a limited viewpoint in a game, and then like notice when you turned away from a thing, and then when you turn back, change it into something else. Like, I really like it whenever games do that. Except that for the most part, they just do it with horror now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's disorienting in a horrific way. So it's stuff that like that. I don't know.
But best fake out, it's doing one thing and then being another thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
obviously, I'll throw BioShock in there because I think that I honestly think that the fake out of between Atlas and what's his face is one of the greater unsung things, and well, actually not unsung. Everybody knows about it, but let's see. I'm trying to think of some other things where what you thought it was a thing and then it turned out to be a different thing. Let's see. Let's go to the old internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know my answer on that because I mean, I all I could think of like I guess bad ones.
Like when Raiden takes his mask off and Metal Gear Solid 2.
Well, there's that. There's also like from Far Cry 3 with was it Baz or
Voss?
Voss.
When Voss is killed.
Ended up not actually being the villain.
Yeah. I tell you what, this is a good one. I don't know if this would technically count. Wow, this is. I'm not really getting anything out of that. Thanks for nothing, YouTube or internet. I really like the way that Inside ends. Remember the end of Inside, where it's like you don't really know what you're doing, and you're just like you're the kid, and you're just wandering across the landscape. And then when you get to the very end, there's that weird ball, and you just like jump into that ball, and then you go to the left, like you break out, and you're just like this rolling murder ball of death, killing everything. Like, because I don't know what I expected out of that game, but it wasn't that. I don't know. Braid probably also is probably a good one for that, where it turns out you're the bad guy the entire time. I'm trying to think of some other fake outs. Oh well, one of the greatest ones, or at least one of the ones that I really liked, is the Polito Shodan reveal in System Shock 2, where it turns out that the person that was guiding you was just a corpse the entire time. When you finally go into their room, it's like the wall comes down and there's just Shodan there to fucking get all up your ass.
I don't know.
Portal the end of Portal is a good fake out where you've been doing this test and something is weird, and then it's like get into the party submission position. You're going into the fucking fire. I like that one quite a bit too. Actually, you know what? Portal 2 also has a good fake out at the end where the doors open and the turrets are there, and then they just showdown. GLaDOS sends you out, lets you go, just puts you up into the big cornfield, and then the door opens and the companion cube falls out. I would say, is it Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1, where it turns out that Reznikov was like a Tyler Durden Fight Club hallucination the entire time?
That's 2, I think.
Is that 2? Okay.
I think that's 2.
Wasn't 2 the one in the future?
No, 2 was actually covered modern times.
I thought 2 was the one where you went to like this weird hotel, like island hotel in the future.
Maybe. Okay.
Or it had flashbacks and flash forwards. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was, but like or wait,
I didn't play them, so I shouldn't actually be saying.
I think it might have been the first one. Was it the one with the numbers where they're asking about the numbers? Was that 2 or was that 1?
Oh, I don't know.
But I thought that was kind of interesting as well. In fact, it's not really so much of like a fake out so much as it is. I mean, because you get to see it coming a mile away. But last week on Watch Out for Fireballs, they were talking about. It really made me want to go back and play Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah, because that's one where you turn out to be.
Yeah, where you were the bad guy the entire time.
Yeah.
Except that, like, I mean, I feel like by about halfway through that game, once you get past the white phosphorus part, I'm pretty sure that you're a bad guy. Like, you don't have to go all the way to the end of the game to oh no, it was me the whole time. And it's like, yeah, you've been doing some really dubious, questionable shit this entire game. So, I don't know. Anything else?
No.
Anything else? Anything else comes to mind? All right. Let's see. I don't really know about this one, so I'm going to put it over to you.
Okay.
Marble says, hey, guys, for those that have played Red Dead 2, what was your favorite side mission? I have to say I really enjoyed the Mr. Margaret traveling zoo. Keep up the great work, and that's from Marble. Did you have a specific side quest in Red Dead that you felt was really cool? I like the part where you meet that woman out in the wilderness whose husband has died, and it's like if you don't talk to her, she'll just die. But you kind of teach her how to
that was
live
always
off
fun.
the land.
Teach her how to live off the land. I like the stuff with the scientist and the robot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The kind of Frankenstein stuff,
And the fact that you can actually go find the robot afterwards.
Okay, I never did that.
Yeah, so he has so you basically, he tries to create it and it doesn't really come, like it stands, it takes a couple steps then falls over.
Right.
And then like you leave and if you come back, the guy's dead.
Yeah.
And the robot's gone. But there's a lantern on it.
Okay.
And if you take the lantern, it lights up a certain color whenever it's pointed in the direction of the robot.
Okay.
So if you go to a specific area of the map and you can find the robot and it's just crying. It's just in the cold crying.
Aw. So the Sasquatch of Red Dead 2.
Because it's very much clear that it didn't mean to kill him, but it did, and it's sad.
Oh. Yeah, it's funny because I didn't do a lot of the side missions because there were just so goddamn many.
The cult one with the
missions.
alien abduction, where you don't meet aliens, but you can see a flying saucer. It's pretty interesting.
I gotta find out some of these so that we can do them on the show.
Well, it's funny because I stumbled across it without realizing what it was.
Yeah.
But like you find this essentially a cult.
Yeah.
And like all the references in there are like references to like Heaven's Gate and stuff like that. Or like, sort of references to Heaven's Gate.
Mm.
But if you actually go there at a specific time and you walk in there, suddenly the building will be shrouded in like a green light. And if you run out quick enough, you can see the spaceship like flying away.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. There's also a ghost train.
I need to play.
I haven't seen the ghost train.
I need to play more Red Dead too.
It's hard. Apparently, if you at a certain time of night on a specific area of a track, if you wander around, you'll actually see a ghost train. There's a lot of stuff.
All right.
There's apparently a time traveler that I haven't heard about, or I didn't encounter, but I heard about a guy who claims to be a time traveler in the mountains. You can run into.
I saw the stranger from the first game is in there.
He's not in it, but his house is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is you can actually go to that spot at any point in the game, and it's different each time you go to it.
Interesting.
Specifically, like if you go there like super early in the game, there's a portrait in the center of in the room.
Yeah.
That's like on an easel.
Yeah.
And it's completely blank. And then if you leave and you come back, like the portraits, it fills in as the further along you get in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta find some. It's just that the main story was so goddamn daunting that like wasn't about to go looking around for other
and
stuff.
some of these side missions, once you get to a certain point in the story, you can't do them.
Oh, really?
There's a few of them that are only doable at certain times in the game.
Interesting. I might have to look some of those up. I hate everyone, so shut up. Says, hey Jeff and company. I'm not a fan of Persona 5. To me, it was flashy without having much substance. I'm in the minority with this opinion. What are some games in a franchise that you hate but everyone loves? Halo. Everybody loves Halo. I'm not a big fan of Halo. I understand
Grand
why
Theft Auto
it's important.
5.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really hate it, but I don't think it's as great as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
And also, we've long discussed my issues with the game.
Yeah.
Like I actually think it's a well-made game. But I can't. But
no, I got it. Fortnite. Everybody seems to like Fortnite quite a bit.
But yeah, I don't know. And as far as Persona 5, I've never played it. I'll be honest, I've never actually played a Persona game.
I actually asked him because I was curious, like, why he felt the Persona 5 didn't have any substance, because I felt like it was at least as substantive as 4 was.
Yeah.
I was in my head, I couldn't think of anything that was dramatically different. I mean, like, mechanics-wise from 4. Like, you're going to school, you got a part-time job after school, there's like, there's all these areas to explore and do stuff, so I don't know. Yeah. Anything else come to mind? Oh, you know what? When that Hitman collection came out, I went back to was it Blood Money? Was the one before Absolution?
Yeah.
And I just didn't really like it very much. Like, I liked it kind of suffered, and I feel like a lot of people love that game. They just love it so much, but I never really played it all the way to the end at the time, and so going back and playing it, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I think I like the newer ones, but I think I like Absolution better than Blood Money.
Yeah.
I mean, because Blood Money was back when Hitman didn't have any like there was no indicator for anything, so it's like you just had to like memorize the level and then try to figure out what to do, as opposed to being like, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hit the switch, I'm going to hit this lever, and then the lion's going to fall on the guy, and it's like, yay. Oh, also, we forgot about the news. They announced a whole big roadmap for Hitman going forward this year.
Nice.
In the summer, they're going to have I believe it's a bank mission, like on the ground. They're going to have a second sniper level, and then there's going to be a resort mission.
Is this all like free DLC or?
No. These levels are the season pass.
Oh, okay.
So the Port Hantu was the first one. So it's that sniper, and then the bank one, and then another one, another sniper level,
Okay.
and then the resort level, and then in between that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and then at the very end in the fall, there's like various improvements. I don't know what that is. So. IT Johan says, hello there, rambunctious duo of Rage Select. BB Larson is out with the 11th book in the Undying Mercenaries. And with that, my craving for a game in that universe rises anew. An FPS where dying doesn't matter. When you die, you just awake sometime later to be thrown out into the fight again, or maybe the battle is already over. All the theaters of war become like levels of Hitman, where different strategies lead to different outcomes, and that is where you get the replay value from. So, to my question, what universe from a recent book, or I'm going to say whatever, have you read that you would like to play through, and what genre would that game be? You know what? I read this space stuff all the time, and here's the thing. EVE Online, Homeworld, there's like 3 other games that are like in space combat simulation games.
Yeah.
I would love to play capital ships, running up and shooting at each other and doing that kind of stuff. Like, I would love to be able to do that. But there just aren't that many games in that genre, right?
Yeah.
Like, I thought Homeworld was great. It was so well received that people would do more of that. But the problem with Homeworld is that you can really fuck yourself in Homeworld. And so it's like I feel like I can't just let loose and have fun with Homeworld. I always have to be sure that I'm going to have the number of frigates that I need for the next fucking mission, of the game. But
yeah.
That's all
I feel like there was actually something that Amanda and I were watching the other day, like a TV show or a movie or something, that we were like, oh man, this would be a really good video game.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the fuck it was for the life of me.
Right? Comics? Any comics you'd like to see? I mean, all of them? Any of them?
Yeah. I want more. It's kind of interesting because I want more supernatural sci-fi.
Okay.
Like in general,
Shadow
I want Run, almost like more style of Dead Space, but more horror focused.
Okay.
Stuff like Event Horizon, the movie, or
wasn't there a game that some company was making where it was like a first person thing?
Or there's a comic that I'm reading right now that's just coming out called Outer Darkness.
Okay.
Which is it's kind of takes the idea of that supernatural stuff happens while in space, and like they have like engines that are what they refer to as a god engine, which it's literally they trapped a god inside of an engine to power the ship. and so they have to actually give sacrifices to the god so that the engine will have fuel.
Sounds like Warhammer 40K.
Yeah,
but what happened in that universe.
But also, like, there's there's like demons, and you can bring people back to life, and we figured out how to like capture. If a person dies, how to bring their spirit back to a new clone body, and and sometimes like demons can attach to those spirits, and all shit and hell breaks loose, and there's. It's literally a world where magic and the supernatural and the occult all exist, but it's also science fiction, like spaceships flying through space.
Okay,
and dealing with it's such a cool idea that I don't really even fucking care what type of game it is. Just give it to me.
Yeah, we've talked before about how I also feel like the weird Western doesn't get its fair
weird
shake.
Western doesn't get its fair shake.
So, yeah, just I don't know.
I was playing Hard West the other day on my Switch. Because it came out on the Switch, so I bought it.
There you go.
Because that's a fucking great game.
I don't think I ever played more than just the very beginning of that game.
It was funny because I bought it and it was downloading, and I was really upset because it wasn't downloading fast enough. So I started playing Into the Breach.
Oh yeah,
and then once it got finished downloading, I stopped playing Into the Breach and started playing Hard West. And Amanda was just like, did you just go from one tactics game to another? And I'm like, yes.
It's too many tactics games.
Never.
Let's see. Inner Slice, he says, hey, Jeff and John, I've recently started to get into drawing, but whenever I finish something, the flaws really discourage me, and I'm starting to draw less and less because of it. I really want to get better, but I know that won't happen without putting in the work. Any suggestions or tips would be greatly appreciated. Well, it's... one of the things that I liked to do was show your drawing to somebody who doesn't draw. I feel like people who don't ever do drawing or art or anything like that think that stuff is just like, it's just goddamn magical that you made a thing happen.
You know what? Even show it to someone whose work you admire.
Yeah.
And because, I used to draw a lot. I stopped drawing not because I didn't like my art style or whatever, but just because I wanted to do other things. Spent my time doing other things.
Sure.
I still doodle very often. I look at my art style and went, this is never going to be good to be anything other than just me having fun with my own art.
Sure.
And coming to the realization personally for me of like, it's never going to be what I see in my head, but I can at least have fun with it. Like that, of course, that was kind of my thing, was just like, it's for me, and it's never going to be perfect, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that actually kept me drawing was, there's a friend of mine whose art I fucking love. I'm talking, this is like Joe Madura style. Like, he doesn't draw like Joe Mad, but like that level of craft with art style. That I would pay like top dollar for a comic book drawn by him.
Right.
And like showing him my stuff, and he'd be like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, and I'd be like, yeah, but compared to yours, it's garbage. He's like, it doesn't have to be good compared to mine. It's good because it's like, he genuinely liked my art.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I would do, because I would do stuff that he wouldn't think about with my art. And there was clearly a style to it. So sometimes showing it, like you said, showing it to other people who maybe don't draw, but I think the biggest hurdle for any artist is getting to that point where you have to accept that it's, no matter how good your art is, it's never going to look as good as it should have looked in your head, or that you imagined it should have looking in your head. So it doesn't matter, because I even talking to him, he's even been like, oh, well, there's this problem and I fucked up this. And I'm like, I didn't see any of that looking at this. Like, this is all fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but it's kind of, I think it's garbage. And it's like, no, that's not garbage. That's great. So it's very much getting to the point in your head to where you accept that, is it good enough? Does it have to be good enough that you don't want to improve? No, you want to always be improving. But one of the big things is just that, if it's not perfect, don't kill yourself over it. Don't get discouraged if it's not perfect.
It's also,
that's probably bad advice on my part. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't let it stop you.
Yeah.
Is maybe the thing is that several things. One, I'm never happy with anything.
I don't know any artist who's ever happy with what they draw.
I'm not happy with the puppet sketches. We did the Phoenix Wright puppet sketch. And everybody was like, yeah. I mean, most of the people that I know, they're like, oh, I watched it. It was funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, the day after I rendered that out, I woke up and I was like, fuck, I thought of 3 better jokes that I could have done for that. But like, I already filmed it. I can't get anybody back here. I'm unhappy with a lot of the things that I do. But what I've learned over the years is that a lot of people have this thing where they want it to be perfect. My dad always used to say, and this is a common saying, he didn't make it up, don't ever let the perfect become the enemy of the good. Like, you can make something that is very good or just good, and that's good. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not every single thing has to be perfect. And in a lot of ways, it helps to internalize that. Okay, like when I was younger, I used to draw all the time, right?
Yeah.
I used to draw all the time. And I got to a point where I was drawing, and I had my own style, and I had the way that I like to draw things, and I would just draw and draw and draw and draw and draw. But I wasn't really getting better. I was just getting more my style of drawing.
Yeah.
And then I went to art school, and they were like, draw that. And I was like, I don't want to. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's your grade. Fucking paint flowers, asshole. And I was like, all right, fine. And the thing is that I feel like you learn a lot by doing this stuff. The worst thing you could do is stop. The best thing you could do is keep going.
Yeah.
Because you will refine and refine. And if I may, if you are getting tired of, say, just drawing, maybe try painting. Maybe try copying a picture.
Yeah.
That copying is a time-honored tradition. Like, take somebody else's painting and just draw it, and you will learn a lot about a painter by sketching, like what they did, Or one of the things I see online all the time, like, you want to draw a face, take a face, turn it upside down and draw it. Like, because a lot of people when they draw, they do construction drawing where they know how to build a face. So I'm going to start with the eyes, and then I'm going to go up to here. Don't do that. Start at the feet. Draw your way up from the feet and do it that way. Turn it sideways. Turn it upside down. Make it a weird perspective. Like, do some stuff to challenge yourself. Change your medium. Use graphite if you don't do that. Hell, one of my favorite things I ever did was twig in ink gesture drawings.
There's actually another thing I was going to bring up. There's actually someone who, if I'm not mistaken, has posted on who is a fan of Rage Select that I'm actually friends with, that when I first met him, he was not an artist. He was a writer. He really wanted to make comics, but he couldn't find an art. He was having so hard trouble finding an artist. So he finally decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to become an artist.
Yeah.
And started literally, even he was like, my art is crap, but I'm going to get better. And went to art school, like learned stuff, did everything. He fucking animates now.
Yeah,
like and his stuff is good. Like it's actually like really well done. And it's kind of one of those things. And even he would admit, like it's still like work in progress. Like even he's like, yeah, it's good, but I'm happy with it. But I'm not like, I don't think it's the best. There's things I wish I could have done better.
Yeah.
But when he got tired of drawing like still stuff, he went into animation and actually started learning how to animate stuff. And and like you said, change the medium. Change, if you're bored with what you're doing, if that's what's killing your interest in drawing, then change it up a little bit. If you're drawing pencil and inking it and trying to do like a comic book style, try to do an abstract style. Try to pick up painting. Try to
if you're drawing people, draw still lifes, draw objects,
draw animals,
draw landscapes, draw
dogs,
cats, to 3-point perspective rooms. There's stuff to do, and there's ways to challenge yourself. Don't let yourself get burned out, because it also is a skill that requires practice.
Yes,
and a lot of the for my money. Okay, 2 things. One, I don't really know that many artists that are happy with their work.
As I said earlier,
yeah.
I've never met an artist that's like, my art's great. Usually it could literally be some of the best art you will ever see, and that person will be like, it's garbage.
Or a lot of times the people that I have met that have been like, nope, my art's fantastic, and I'm like, I mean, it's okay, but you can always. I mean, the striving to always be better is a good thing. Like, trying not to be complacent, but the other thing is that there is a process to doing this stuff. There are so many different techniques, and a lot of times you just have to keep going. You have to keep doing it, keep practicing, keep trying to do different things, challenge yourself to do different things. Because a lot of the people that I know, in art school that weren't able to progress were people that just wanted to do one thing. Like they wanted to draw people, right? They didn't ever want to draw a candle or like, a table or like whatever. And even I'm pretty bad about that. I just want to draw people. I like drawing people. Yeah. But once you start drawing different things, once you start doing different, types of construction, go look for George Bridgman's books. He does a whole thing where he breaks the human body into I feel like nobody ever tells you this shit. When you're going to art class and they make you draw like spheres and cubes and triangles, and they make you shade them so you know where the light goes on the cube and the square.
Yeah, I did all that in high school.
Yeah, well, that's important because you can break a person's body down into a bunch of rectangles and cubes and shit.
And triangles and shit.
And then you know where the light's supposed to fall on them because you've been shading the sides of rectangles for an entire semester. You know instinctively where the light falls, where the reflective light is and that. So then if you use those triangles to put together a person, then, it's like, early on in art school, or I don't know if you ever had to do this, but a lot of times I feel like in art school they make you do blind contour drawing where you look at a thing and then you draw with your hand without looking at your paper.
Yeah.
And everybody does it and it always looks terrible. And everybody's like, look at all the eyes are in the wrong place. Well, the thing is that blind contour is an actual skill and you want to have it. You should practice it because that means that you can look at something and paint it without having to look at your canvas. You can concentrate on what you're painting because you know that your hand's going to be able to do the thing. But that nobody ever gets past that first part, right? Everybody gets stuck on that first part and they never get to the next part. But
yeah, see, I kind of I sort of cheated on that in that my thing that I chose to do was my other hand.
Yeah.
So like I had the paper and I'm just looking at my other hand, but I can kind of see what my hand's doing on the side. Yeah. But I kind of cheated.
But see, the thing is that nobody told me when we were doing blind contour what it was for. Yeah. Nobody explained what blind contour, that it was a skill that will help you later, not just a thing to go, well, I sucked at that, and throw your paper away and go on with your life.
Yeah, no, it's a
skill. Anyway, keep at it, Interslicey.
You can do it.
And nobody becomes an artist overnight.
Hell, you're on the Discord.
Yeah.
Share some of your art in the Discord.
Maybe you want to do that.
We'll
look at it. Yeah, sure, if you want.
Yeah. I mean, share it in the Discord. We'll check it out. We'll look at it. Yeah. Other people will look at it. There's always someone to be like, oh man, that's cool looking.
Yeah. Keep it up. Also, sorry, before we finish here, I can't count the number of times where I have been doing art for a while. And it's not like I gradually got better. It's like one day I sat down and it was just like this weird click in my head. And like suddenly I could just draw this thing that had been a problem.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like, I'm going to draw a million hands. And by the time I get done with all these hands, my hands are going to be better. It was like I've been drawing hands and they kind of like shit for years. And then one day it was just like
a light bulb went off.
Yeah. And like, oh, wow, I could draw a hand now. That's weird.
Yeah, no, trust me. It's also weird sometimes that I have the opposite effect. Yeah. Like I'll learn how to draw something and I'll draw it really perfectly. And then something will click in my head and I'll never be able to draw it again.
I need to go back. Anyway, let's see. Let's do a few more of these and then we'll get out of here. Dylan writes in and says, hey guys, it's Dylan. Haven't written in a while and I apologize if this has been asked in the past. Do you feel trailers are revealing way too much content lately? Example, the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer showed a lot of content from the story in the end game. The final Devil May Cry 5 trailers did the same in the end game. Did you feel this was acceptable given no context? What are your thoughts? Thanks for my question. As always, said before, keep it fucking classy, and that's from Dylan.
I don't really feel like Devil May Cry 5 spoiled anything. I mean, I know it had scenes that were in the end game, but a lot of those scenes were also at the beginning of the game, too. Because that entire game is told in a weird, disjointed timeline.
Yeah, I mean, in Kingdom Hearts 3, I wouldn't be able to recognize a spoiler for Kingdom Hearts 3 if you showed it to me.
Yeah.
You could show me 30 seconds of Kingdom Hearts 3, a cutscene, and it could be like, this is the end of the game. And I'd be like, okay. Like, this is the beginning of the game. And I'd be like, okay, I don't know anything. I don't know enough to spoil it.
But, as far as our trailers showing too much,
I haven't been dissatisfied with many trailers recently. Like that Rage trailer that we looked at was just like, hey, look, a bunch of explosions,
Yeah, I think for the most part they're good about, or if they do show something that could be construed as spoiler, it's done in such an out of context way that it doesn't spoil anything. Like, I could be like, even if I did see a something from the end of Devil May Cry in one of the trailers, that didn't spoil anything for me.
I mean, they would have to show some pretty specific stuff. Like, I can think of a few things, because there was one, and it's still early enough, I'm going to talk around it. There was, though, like one turn in Devil May Cry that I didn't know was going to happen. Now, it got like quote unquote foreshadowed, or maybe quote unquote spoiled, like second thing in the game. Like, but
there was a big, like, I guess you could say quote unquote twist that I called the second, like literally the first second we got into the game. I was like, oh yeah, that's what's gonna happen, and then it happened.
I'm just trying to think, like, you know, I'm looking through the things here. Like, nothing from the Sekiro trailers I felt like told me what was going to happen. I don't feel like any of the Mortal Kombat trailers that we've seen have had. I mean, there's been some story stuff, and they've obviously. I mean, I guess maybe like the Mortal Kombat, we know that there's like, you know, the different timelines, right? But I feel like that was kind of from the beginning we knew that.
Yeah.
Like, I
mean, they really went, you know, this whole DC multiverse thing's really cool. Why don't we bring that into MK?
Right.
And then they went, holy shit, we could do so much with MK.
Like, I don't think that anything I've seen from, say, Control or Days Gone, I'm just looking at the PlayStation channel right now, you know, I don't feel like any of those trailers I don't feel like they've shown too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watch a lot of trailers, and for me, maybe it's because I just watch a lot of trailers and I don't like focus on trailers. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting that. Getting that, Dylan. You know, sorry. Nick writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. Do you have any pet peeves in video games? Mine would be water splashing on the screen in a third-person game. I understand why it happens in a first-person shooter, but in a third-person view, it drives me crazy. Anyway, thanks for all you do and keep up the good work. Nick from New Orleans. I mean, you know, we've answered this question a bunch of times before. Anything recently that's come to your mind, John? Any recent pet peeves that you've been playing a game and you're just like, God, you son of a bitch?
Not really.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sekiro is really hard. That's not really.
Is that a pet peeve?
When a game is too hard, yes.
Okay.
I agree. I would say that there have been games where they've been so fucking hard that I'm just like, well, this is just excessive. I'm trying to think of what I've been playing recently. You know, I played Zenki Zero, and then we played Ostencia or whatever, that Zen Studios RPG. And they both have that kind of like Ultima Persona Q, like grid-based first-person thing. And I'm really clumsy with that style of games. I don't know why, and I recognized it last night when I was playing Zenki Zero. Okay, here's a pet peeve of mine. In Zenki Zero, whenever you run into a wall, you have a group of 4 characters that you're controlling as one. You're just one viewpoint.
Yeah.
Whenever you run into a wall, one of your characters says something. You're like, ugh. Or like, stop it. You're like, ow. And I run into walls I'm just pinballing off that entire game. And so I'm just constantly listening to these yahoos going, bleh, bleh. And I'm just like, jeez. Phoenix Wright reminded me of something that we played Phoenix Wright last week. One of the things that I hate, and it's one of the only things that kept me from playing a lot more of the Phoenix Wright games, is, you know how in Phoenix Wright, if you don't get the right answer, you have a limited number of tries, and then it just like busts you and you have to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I hate playing the same thing, not Hitman style, but like narrative. I hate playing the exact same narrative over and over and over again, right? Like there's compelling gameplay. There's like going through the same area numerous times, but then there's like, I played this mission. I don't want to have to play it a second, third, fourth, fifth. Play it over and over again. So, all right, one more question and then we're done. Justin says, hi, Jeff and John. My question is, if a kaiju attacks Austin, what would you do? Head to Matt Frank's kaiju bunker or stay in your house? Thanks from Justin. I guess those are the only 2 options that we have, is go to Matt Frank's house or stay in your house.
Are we sure that Matt Frank would actually be at his house and not trying to hug and cuddle whatever monster is destroying the city?
Well, then his house would be empty. Hey, what? So much the better, right? You got the full run of the place. Eat all his pizza. Take all of his peanut butter. use the bathroom. And
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably stay home. Probably.
I go to Matt's house. Matt lives like 20 miles away from Austin. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
It would take, Kaiju Ravages Manor or wherever it is that Matt lives. Kaiju Ravages Georgetown. Like, it's not something that I normally expect to see in a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'll stick by Matt Frank. He knows the rules. He's like the with the guy in Scream, right?
Yeah,
Who knows all the rules of the kaiju movie?
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, he'll be able to tell me what to do. And with that, we're going to be done with the Rage Select podcast for this week. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thank you, John, for being here.
You're welcome.
Should we talk about Geek Bombast, or do you want to hold off on that?
No, we'll hold off on it for now.
Okay. In that case, mail@rageselect.com is the email address that you should send your questions into if you want us to read them on the air. Bye.